And a good evening, folks. We are at Evansville's Bossy Field. Mark Machner with Randall Parmley as the Evansville Otters return home to start the second half of this Frontier League 2019 campaign to take on a very good Lake Erie Crushers ball club. And Randall, tell you what, we really couldn't have a better night at the ballpark. There's plenty of festivities, a great crowd, weather's cooperating. No place I'd rather be on a Friday night.
Oh, just an absolutely beautiful night for baseball out here at historic Bossy Field, Mark. And the Otters begin the second half of the Frontier League season in pretty good shape. They have the second best record in the division. They're behind second place, and the matchup tonight with Lake Erie. Of course, the Crushers lead the West Division, so looking forward to a good night tonight as we get ready for the national anthem.
Yes, sir. We will step aside as we have a group tonight singing the national anthem. It is the 500 voice choir, so we will turn it over. And again, that was the singing of our national anthem, signifying we were just moments away from first pitch. The Otters return to Bossy Field in their home white uniforms with the maroon lettering trimmed in navy blue. Meanwhile, you're not going to miss this Lake Erie Ball Club. They are in some pretty bright purple uniform tops with the gray traveling pants. And again, the matchup to this, Randall, on paper at least, and obviously in live sports, you never know what you're going to get on any given night, but it looks to be a matchup of really two of the better entities in this league. Again, the top pitching staff taking on the top hitting ball club, and I expect runs to be at a premium. We're actually getting a rematch of Game 3 of this series of the two teams that played earlier in the season. Pitching-wise, the two pitchers went head-to-head, and it resulted in a 3-2 Otters win with starting pitcher Jake Welch hurling 8 scoreless innings.
And Welch is back on the mound tonight, and like you said, Mark, should be a really good game. Of course, Lake Erie in first place in the Frontier League East Division with a 25-23 record. The Otters, actually have the second best record in the league, but they're in second place in the West behind Florence with a 28-22 record. And you were talking about offense. Of course, the Otters have a chance to put some runs on the board tonight. They have two of their big sluggers, Carlos Castro and Ryan Long, I should say. Both made the Frontier League All-Star squad this year, and they both competed in the home run contest earlier this week up in New York.
The Frontier League victorious in that contest by a 7-0 score, with both Long and Castro picking up, actually Long picking up a base knock. I believe Castro was hitless. The other All-Star, Rob Calabrese, did pick up a knock. Meanwhile, the Crushers have an All-Star of their own, I should say. We'll see him in Game 3. That is Patrick Leday. But tonight the matchup is Jake Welch, who on the season's 3-3 with a 3.81 earned run average, taking on Alex Romero, a pair of tall right-handers. Romero on the season 2-1 with a 2.82 earned run average. And Randall, in taking a look at this matchup, the first thing that stood out to me, head-to-head, we're taking a look at the Otters having to go up against three guys that have ERA starting with 2s. So we know that, again, they're going to have their work cut out for them offensively. But, again, this is the best top-ranked offense in the Frontier League.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at that Otters starting lineup before we get started. David Cronin is hitting leadoff for the Otters, and he's playing second base. Left field, it's Keith Geishaber. Ryan Long at third, Mike Rizzatello catching, Carlos Castro at first, Jake Meggs at right, Rob Calabrese is the designated hitter, Hunter Cullen at center, J.J. Gould is at short, and again, Jake Welch is on the mound tonight for the Otters as we are ready to go.
First pitch a bit outside as 6:35, if you're keeping score at home, is the first pitch. Welch, again, the tall right-hander, taking on James Davison, left-handed hitting center fielder for the Crushers. Crushers 2 games over 500 on the season, as there is a called strike 1 on the season. Davison hitting .243. He's a guy you want to keep off the base pass, is typically your top of the lineup, features speed. 16 out of 22 on the season in stolen bases. So Welch will do his best to keep him off the paths, as there's a foul ball now to push the count to 1-2.
And Welch, a strong start is key for him tonight. He has been a bit inconsistent at times this year for the Otters, and you got to believe that a strong start, a good 1-2-3 first inning would go a long way towards his confidence tonight.
Very simple mechanics. Come set. 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed, and that'll be a swinging strikeout to start the contest. So just what the doctor ordered, as the Otters again coming off the All-Star break. Leadoff man, the speedster, Davison, is retired. Bases clear, 1 down for the right-handed hitting second baseman, Aaron Hill.
And a pretty good crowd out here tonight out at Bossy Field. And again, this is our first taste of broadcasting live baseball on TriStateHomepage.com. We've been doing football for quite some time. We've been talking about having the chance to carry an Otters game for quite some time, and thrilled to be doing it tonight.
First pitch to Hill, swung on and fouled straight back. The right-hander on the season's hitting .265. He's gone deep 7 times this season with 21 RBIs. This is a guy, though, that is prone to the strikeout. Leads the team with 55 punch-outs on the season. Again, top of the lineup, though, does feature some speed. He's 7 out of 10 on the year in stolen bases. He'll bat in front of the switch-hitting shortstop, Emmanuel Marrero. Marrero is the guy that Andy McCauley's got to look at and say, this is the guy I'm not going to let beat me on this team. Again, he is a switch hitter. 8 homers, 25 RBIs. Was not, however, an all-star, as this offense for Lake Erie, it can go stagnant at times, as the 1-2 pitch, 0-2 pitch make that, is ripped to third and on a line. Taking that for the second out is the all-star, Ryan Long.
Long didn't have to do much as far as making that play. Half step over to his right and handle the liner with ease, and that's a good start for Welch, like we were talking about, who's 3-3 on the season. Pretty solid earned run average.
It is
3.81.
Again, in his only start of the season against Lake Erie, the right-hander from Evansville, or for Evansville, I should say, went 8 innings, 8 strong innings, gave up 3 hits. His first pitch swinging. Here's a liner to center, and that'll be gloved by Cullen. First pitch swinging line out, and that's going to be the third and final out of the inning. 1-2-3, go the Crushers. No hits, no runs, no errors, and nobody left. We'll send it to the bottom of the first, still scoreless here at Bossy.
We're not going to be able to hear each other.
So be it.
That's what they just said.
All right. As again, we are scoreless in between innings. And of course, like most minor league ballparks, featuring good family entertainment and fun, you've got some on-field activities going on. And Randall, again, it was encouraging to see a crisp 1-2-3 inning. You never know how the layoff's going to affect baseball players, pitchers especially. They are creatures of habit. And Welch came out, didn't fall behind it. Well, he did fall behind the very first batter, 1-0, but after that was pumping strikes in there and a solid, crisp 1-2-3 inning.
Well, showing no signs of rust after the nice layoff. Sometimes that's what these guys need, is just a little bit of break to kind of recharge the batteries. And Welch wasn't on the All-Star squad, so he had a little extended time off.
And I'll tell you,
strong top half of the first as we get ready for the bottom half.
These guys don't get a whole lot of time off once the season started. It is truly a grind. Of course, most of these guys are not from Evansville, so it's interesting to talk to them and find out what exactly they did. It's usually a long enough break that they get a chance to recharge the batteries, but not long enough for most guys to make it back home, wherever home is. And when you take a look at this roster up and down, did notice a lot of Northeast guys, which is interesting because not necessarily known as a baseball hotbed in the Northeast, where you've got a lot of guys who don't get the reps due to the cold weather.
And while we have a time, if you're just tuning in, let's go ahead and go over the lineup for the Otters. David Cronin will lead things off for Evansville. Keith Gricehaber hitting second to All-Star. Ryan Long, he's one of the league leaders in almost every offensive category as far as power statistics in the Frontier League. Mike Rizzatello is hitting fourth. Carlos Castro also up there near the top in the league leaders. Offensively, he's hitting fifth. Jack Megg, sixth. Rob Calabrese, seventh. Hunter Cullen will hit eighth. And J.J. Gold will hit ninth.
Getting it started is going to be the lefty, David Cronin. On the season, a .283 batter. If he gets on base, though, look for him to cause some havoc, as he is 11 for 12 on the season in stolen bases. First pitch from the right-hander, Alex Romero, sails high. Romero on the season, a very respectable 2-1 with a .283 earned run average, making his 11th start of the season. He's thrown 57 1/3 innings and missed consecutively now 2-0. On the season, 52 hits allowed, 20 runs, of which 18 are earned. He's walked 20 batters and struck out 61, and Randall batters are hitting a scant .236 against this right-hander, whose ERA currently sits at number 10 in the Frontier League.
So it's a good test tonight for the Otters, whose lineup is basically built, get them on, get them over, and get them in. Andy McCauley not afraid to play small ball, make contact, get your guys on, and generate runs. He doesn't rely on the long ball in the Otters offense this year.
Romero has faced this Evansville ball club once, came up on the short end of a 3-2 ball game, as he will walk the leadoff batter on 4 straight pitches. And we talked about the rust not showing from Jake Welch. You could say the opposite could potentially be happening out on the mound right now, as again, here's a right-hander who's only walked 20 guys on the season, and on 4 pitches now sends the leadoff man aboard.
Got to bring up Gricehaber. Don't be surprised to see McCauley doing that philosophy right out of the gates. Get them on, get them over, get them in.
Second baseman shaded up the middle a bit for the double play ball. That's Cronin. Opens up a nice hole on the right-hand side, showing bunt and taking the pitch up and in. Snap throw to first, but back in time goes the base runner, Davison. Hill on the seasons, a .265 hitter. He's gone deep 7 times with 21 driven in.
If you get a runner in second scoring position for Ryan Long here in the first, you got to feel pretty good about your chances getting him in.
Once again squaring and now taking a pitch over the outer corner of the plate. Called a strike by home plate umpire James Purnell. Working the bases tonight, it'll be Drew Ashcraft. 2-man crew. Wind blowing gently from left to right field, giving the fans in the outfield seats a bit of relief in this sunny early evening. A swing and a miss by the right-hander Hill puts him down in the count 1-2. So after showing bunt Randall on his first 2 pitches, Hill was given the green light there and came up empty on the high cheese.
A little surprised to see that, but it was a hitter's count. So Andy McCauley giving him the option.
Throw to first. Back in time goes the base runner. Behind the plate for this Crushers ball club is Brian De La Rosa. Runner with a walking lead. Fakes the go. Slider off the plate. That'll square the count at 2-2. One of the first off-speed deliveries I've seen from the right-hander, Romero. Up to this point, for the most part, it's been fastballs and, for the most part, high fastballs.
Gricehaber calls Missouri home. Spent a lot of time playing in the Dodgers organization.
Cronin again with his lead. 2-2 pitch lifted to the right side. Right fielder is going to give chase. Kraft, though, will run out of real estate, and the count stays square at 2-2.
Again, first game back from the All-Star break for both teams. The Otters looking to make some noise and put together a nice long winning streak. That's something they've yet to do this year. But they've been winning series, so that's really all that matters.
That is indeed the recipe for postseason baseball. Count remains 2-2. Runner holds. Fastball in on his hands. And Griesaber fouls it back into the screen to stay alive. This was something that, in talking with Andy before the contest started, he said, look, this is a ball club. No bones about it. Their strength is their pitching, specifically their starters, specifically their back end of their bullpen. But like a lot of teams, that soft underbelly is the middle relief. So his plan in this series, as the 2-2 pitch is in the dirt, runner will not advance, as Cronin was already retreating back to the base when the pitch came in. So it actually moves to 3-2 now. But Randall, with that, again, the approach for this offense is going to be try and grind out some at-bats, really work that pitch count high, and work on getting into the bullpen, say, 5th, 6th inning, and exploit some of the guys that aren't necessarily used in as high as leverage situations.
The Otters are pretty good at that this year. They have several come from behind wins.
See if the runner's on the move, 3-2. He is. Romero delivers. It's served into short right field. Looked like that's going to drop, and it will. Heading to third on the play goes Cronin. Cronin initially slid into second. Did a nice job to pop up from that slide and scoot on over to third. Davison got to it quickly, but that was just a little sinking liner that died out in the right center field alley in Bosse Field.
Yeah, I really don't know why he slid into second there. Could have cost him from advancing to third, but he was able to bounce up quickly. And we have runners at first and third for the All-Star, Ryan Long.
Well, I would imagine if we said, look, Andy, you're going to have 2 on, nobody out, right out of the gates. Yeah, he'd take that.
With the best hitter on the team and one of the best hitters in the league, with a chance to get one on the board in the first.
Long's tied for the lead league in long balls. Runner's going here. Pitch is outside. Throw to second's going to be in plenty of time, and they'll get him as Griesaber, 12 for 15 coming into tonight in stolen bases. Make it now 12 for 16. He's gunned down for the first out of the ball game, or of the bottom half of the inning.
Long hitting .290 on the season, 9 home runs, 41 RBIs, again near the top of the league in nearly every offensive category in the Frontier League, your power categories anyway. There's a chance to give the Otters the lead here in the first.
As the Crushers will play the infield back, they will concede that run for and out, knowing that, again, they kind of found themselves behind the 8 ball to start this frame with 2 on and nobody out. Thanks to the caught stealing, however, the potential for a big inning has shifted a bit. Count to 1-1. Romero comes set and delivers. It's a breaking ball low and inside. Long takes it now to move into the driver's seat in the count 2-1.
But I like Andy McCauley being aggressive when he has a guy at first. He's got a good chance to swipe that bag out there at second. And who knows, a bad throw down to the bag and you've got an easy run.
De La Rosa, though, was having none of that. He came up and fired a strike to pretty easily get the base stealer, or would-be base stealer. Long rips the 2-1 pitch straight back to square the count now at 2-2. Looking on deck, it is the catcher, Mike Rizzatello. Goes without saying, though, against a solid pitching staff, you get first and third, nobody out. Otters have to come away with something on the board here.
That's going to be an opportunity miss if they don't come away with at least 1 run.
Leadoff walk on 4 pitches, followed by a bloop single, put him at the corners after a caught stealing. Now we've got a 2-2 to Long. Swing and a miss on a high fastball. Power versus power there. And Romero, tip your cap there. He's now 1 out away from working out of this king-size jam in the first.
Bit of a disappointment there. Long goes down on strikes.
So Cronin still camped at third. He was there with nobody out. He's still there with 2 men gone. And it is indeed the aforementioned catcher, Mike Rizzatello, on the season, a .317 hitter. Only 3 RBI on the season, but he's in the mid-20s in games played this year. First pitch to him is going to be a high fastball. Mike loses the handle on the bat. And I'm not sure if this is by design or not, but Randall, we're seeing a lot of high fastballs from Romero.
Well, there may be a scouting report out there that the Otters like to swing at the high heat.
We're again in the bottom of the first, scoreless here at Bosse Field. Game one of the second half unofficially. Lake Erie and Evansville, two teams with playoff aspirations. This is their second matchup of the season, with the Otters traveling to Lake Erie and taking 2 out of 3.
Rizzatello is going to take time and work on his bat a little bit after it went flying out of his hands. He's going to change bats.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he just went from a standard, I can't tell if definitely the one he's bringing to the plate right now is an axe-handled bat. It looked like the one he gave up may not have been, however. There's a lot of guys who just prefer the feel of those axe-handled bats. Count to 0-1. Romero delivers a breaking ball low and away. So far, the results for Romero have been pretty simple. Fastballs, high fastballs. If the Otters are chasing him, he's pretty much been untouchable. Breaking ball, he has not been able to locate to this point. Throwing a lot of sliders, low and away to the right-handers, which once Evansville starts to have a little more left-handed power come to the plate, that might not be the same pattern he chooses to follow.
Shadow. If you're the Otters, you definitely want to get this run in, or else you're going to feel like you let one slip away right out of the gates tonight.
Counts square at 1-1. Another breaking ball low and away. Runner at third comes about a fourth of the way down the line, but will retreat. As Cronin, he again started off the contest with 4 straight out of the zone. Romero, though, after that, settled down, did give up the bloop base hit off the bat of Griesaber. But again, he's come back strong after a little help from his defense with a caught stealing. And then the strikeout of all-star Ryan Long. Otters have their 4th man to the plate. 1 on, 2 out, trying to strike first in this first of 3-game series. Ground ball through the left side, and that will indeed plate that first run. So, again, it was an inning that started out with a lot of promise. Looked like it might fall flat, but that's got to, again, feel good for the Otters in this ball club facing a tough pitcher to know that we did indeed get one out of the inning so far, and obviously they're not done yet.
Rizzatello doing a good job at the plate that time. Couple of check swings, doing a good job with his eye and waiting for one that he can handle, and that's what he did. Took a fastball right through the hole between short and third for our first run of the game.
Rizzatello, as you might imagine, with catcher speed at first, will get a modest lead as that brings in the right-handed swinging Carlos Castro, Evansville's first baseman. He bats from the right-hand side. Fastball just did miss that outside corner of the plate. Castro comes in swinging on the season, a .293 average, 8 home runs, 23 driven in.
One of the Otters All-Stars competed in the home run derby, also up there near the top of the league in the statistical categories for all the power.
Another fastball did miss away to the 6'2" right-hander. Castro, born in the Dominican Republic. He sits very deep in the box. Matter of fact, his back foot, his right foot, which are sporting some red cleats tonight, right on that line. Big swing and a miss from the right-handed slugging first baseman to take a 2-0 count.
And he's
still
he's going to get his money's worth every time he takes a hack, as he takes big swings.
Shadows continue to move across Evansville's Bosse Field. The pitcher's mound is in the shadows. Meanwhile, the pitcher's head is not. 2-1 fastball. That was up and in. Castro took a hack and missed, and we're square now at 2-2 as Randall, again, we're seeing those high fastballs continuing to give this Evansville ball club troubles.
Well, that has to be on the scouting report because he has lived high in the strike zone here in the first.
Very nice crowd joining us tonight here in Evansville as we celebrate a nice partnership with Habitat for Humanity. 2-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Here's my fastball. Can you hit it? At least this time, Castro could not, as that'll send us to the top of the second. Evansville on the board first. RBI single by Mike Rizzatello. Plates the leadoff man, David Cronin. 1-0. Heading to the second. We'll be back with more Evansville Otters baseball. Vantage, Mark Maishner, Randall Parmley, here at the press box at Evansville's Bossy Field. And again, we are here, Randall, tonight to celebrate the house that the Otters built, sponsored by Eyewitness News. And we've got the mayor in the house tonight. We've got the 500 voice choir sang the national anthem.
That was really neat, too.
It was. They did a wonderful job. As the throw will head down to second.
We're also going to have Ron Rhodes sumo wrestling here in the bottom half of this.
You know, it's a shame that we couldn't get you down there on the field for play-by-play of that. Again, it's 1-0 home team as we head to the top of the second. Jake Welch, after a very efficient 1-2-3 first inning, will go to work here in the second as he will take on the 4, 5, and 6 batters for this Lake Erie squad. First pitch, fastball peppers the inner half, and Zach Raskusin takes strike one. Zach on the season, a .288 hitter. He's got a even 10 doubles. Swings on the 0-1 pitch and lines a soft humpback liner into center field for the game's first hit for the Crushers. Leadoff man is aboard. And Randall, we've had 3 hits on the night, 2 of them not all that well hit. Evansville's RBI single was indeed, but as a starting pitcher, those always, they bug you. You feel like you made a good pitch, the guy puts the ball on the bat, and it just finds some green grass.
Well, that's just like your mind's better than yours. And that's kind of what's happened so far tonight.
And this is a ball club in Lake Erie that, again, offense for them is typically at a premium. They hang their hat on their pitching staff. So as a snap throw to first just about got him. You could tell by Welch's reaction. He thought that he had him. Runner at first was getting his lead and was still working on coming set, and Welch fired. And
well, that may have been a balk right there, and it indeed was.
As the field umpire, Drew Ashcraft, will call the balk, moving the runner already in scoring position. So after a smooth first inning, Welch, not quite the start he was looking for after his teammates gave him a 1-0 lead.
He tried to do the quick step off the rubber, I believe, and it was more like a fake delivery to the plate, and umpires quickly called the balk on that and sent the runner over to second. So now the Crushers have a chance to get on the board. Runner at second, nobody out here in the bottom half. Top half of the second.
That brings switch hitting John Cable to the plate. He'll bat lefty against the right-hander, yanks the 0-1 pitch foul. Had a breaking ball biting in on his hands and pulled the hands in, but was not able to keep it fair. Where I was going with that point earlier, though, Randall, offense again is going to be at a premium for these guys, so I'm interested to see, do we, I mean, at that point you're kind of taking the bunt out of play here with the balk, but as a left-handed batter here, all you're looking to do is just put the ball on the ground on the right side, move that runner over to third, less than 2 outs.
And that's exactly what Lake Erie will take.
Breaking ball dips low below the zone as the count now shifts to 1-2. We talked about Welch earlier, his season statistics. He's a 3-3 man with a 3.81 earned run average, making his 11th start of the season tonight. He's now got 60 innings under his belt with the first inning completed. 1-2 pitch came inside, rings him up, says home plate umpire James Purnell, as that breaking ball started middle and just shaved the inside corner, and that'll sit down the left-handed batting Cable. Second strikeout on the night for Welch.
That's a big moment for Welch right there, getting the out without allowing the runner at second to advance, keeping him there at second.
And that again brings now the right-hander to the plate, Stephen Kraft. Shortstop Gold playing very deep and shaded to the left. That leaves a acre and a half up the middle for the right-handed batter. If he can just play pepper with the middle of the diamond, likely we're looking at a tie ball game.
Kraft's hitting .269 on the year. Only 12 RBIs.
Runner at second gets his lead. 1-1 delivery, breaking ball. Will catch that outside corner, now 1-2.
She'll be joining you either now or in the next half inning, whatever you prefer. Position time all that.
If you're just tuning in, Otters on top 1-0 here in the top of the second. Out here celebrating Habitat for Humanity Eyewitness News Night on the 25th anniversary of Otters baseball out here at historic Bossy Field.
Kraft on the season, the only reason I bring this up is it may come into play here. Kraft on the season's 13 out of 14 in stolen bases, which tells me he hits the ball on the ground. He's going to be a tough guy to get. Count to 2-1. Hitters count here as the breaking pitch will miss away now 3-1.
And Rizzatello did a great job right there. Rizzatello with the stop blocked the pitch that was in the dirt to keep the runner at second.
Second baseman, Cronin, keeping the runner close at second. Now the kick and the 3-1 breaking ball is high, gets away from the catcher for the Otters, and that'll allow the runner to move up to third. So that's going to be a walk.
I believe that's a pass ball.
And a pass ball, yep.
And Rizzatello right squarely in the mitt, a little high, and the ball just popped up and squirted away.
Don't know if he was crossed up or if he just flat out missed that one. But that'll put 2 on. Similar situation that the Otters had in the bottom half of the first inning, 2 on. However, for the Crushers, there's one man out here. So now if you're Evansville, you got to hope for a hard ground ball hit at somebody to try and get out of this inning, still hanging on to that 1-0 lead.
The Otters are playing a double play depth in the infield.
Left-handed batting Jake Veith will take a off-speed pitch low and inside. So after jumping ahead early in the count, last 2 batters from the right-hander Welch, he's fallen behind, and that's got him in a bit of trouble. Veith is a true left-hander. We have 2 switch hitters in this lineup for the Crushers. Veith, though, does bat lefty. On the season, again, a .245 hitter, 6 doubles, 6 homers, 26 driven in. He's walked 18 times, struck out 46. So, again, another guy that is prone to the strikeout ball. And if you're Evansville here, you're looking for again, hard hit ground ball at somebody to turn to, a shallow hit fly ball, or again, that strikeout would work as well.
Welch is probably going to keep these low in the strike zone, try to get that ground ball, double play.
1-0 pitch came in at the letters and called a strike. Watching second baseman David Cronin shield his eyes out there, as again, we're at that time of the night where the shadows have pretty much covered up the left side of the infield, where the shortstop plays and the second baseman both are positioned are in the sunlight, however, so it makes for a tough half inning for him. Count to 1-1, kick in the pitch, breaking ball, cut on and missed. Good job by Welch to come back and now turn the count into his favor. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Again, Evansville struck first in the bottom half of the inning. They scored a run on a pair of hits. A walk came back to plate that first run. Runner at first holds, 1-2 pitch, lifted foul, and will make it out of play. Count holds 1-2.
Definitely count in Welch's favor now.
Looking into the on-deck circle, should the inning continue, it's catcher Brian De La Rosa. And again, anytime you hear you've got a catcher coming up, you start to think about, all right, if there's men on base, potentially get a ground ball and get out of that inning. We'll see if it comes to that. Runner goes on the 1-2 pitch. It's cut on and fouled. Nope, he missed it. Was watching the reaction of the batter, thinking that he must have tipped it. It was a swing and a miss. The ball then ricocheted, allowing the runner from third to come in and score. The runner from first goes all the way to third. So a strikeout and a wild pitch. Randall's going to go ahead and knot this game at 1 apiece.
And 2 umpires are going to get together and talk it over to make sure they got the right call. Officially, a strikeout and a wild pitch.
A 2-base wild pitch, not something you see every day, although now I see a runner heading back, and looks like the runner at third is also being told to go back.
They're going to say it was a foul tip, I believe.
Well, I did not have the best angle on that to say good call, bad call, but obviously if you're the Otters, you're thankful that the men in black took the opportunity here to get together and get the call right.
And that's exactly what they called, is the runner is going back to third base. And now they're saying it was just a strikeout.
So now that will indeed be the second out of the inning. Runners will hold at first and third. Third strikeout of the inning, of the ball game for Welch. And again, he's now got a chance to get out of this inning unscathed.
Okay, now I'm confused. I'm
So,
not going to lie. If it was a strikeout, not a foul tip, but a strikeout.
Clearly it wasn't a caught foul tip because it ricocheted 40 feet away. Yeah, I don't know either. We're going to have to check on that.
Yeah, we're going to have to check on that. I'm not for sure how the runner got put back to third. if they're not saying that it was a foul tip. It was just a strikeout.
Beauty of a first pitch slider. There's another 0-2. And I would not be surprised at all to see Jake maybe waste a fastball up and in and then go right back to that breaking ball away to try and finish off the right-handed hitting. De La Rosa. Brian on the season, a .230 batter. He's gone deep once this season with 10 driven home. He's down in the count 0-2. Runner at first breaks, swing and a miss. How about the third strikeout of the inning to go ahead and put this one to bed as Welch had the breaking ball working there. Strikeout number 4 in what turned out to be a fairly wacky top of the second inning.
Otters definitely caught a break there. There is no doubt about that. I'm still not sure what happened.
As we will move over to the bottom of the second with the Otters coming to the plate, leading it by a score of 2-1, and we are so happy now to join or have join us Beth Foltz, the executive director for Habitat for Humanity. And Beth, if you don't mind, just go ahead and tell us a little bit about why we're all here together tonight at Bosse Field.
Well, we are super excited to partner with the Otters to celebrate their 25th year. And Habitat is a good foundation for our community, and so are the Otters. So we couldn't be more excited to be celebrating their 25th year with them.
How did you guys come together for the partnership this year and get the Otters involved in helping build one of the houses?
Well, Bill Bessing is just a wonderful philanthropist in our community. And so he had this idea to sponsor a house that the Otters built. And then our wonderful partnership with Eyewitness News also came around. And so we are building a house that it's called the House the Otters Built for Kimiko and her 2 sons. So we're
now,
super excited.
For folks who are listening and doesn't really know how Habitat for Humanity works, explain the process. You guys aren't just giving these houses away.
Exactly. That's the number one myth about Habitat, is that we give houses away, and nothing could be further from the truth. Our future homeowners help build the homes that they eventually buy from us at a 0% interest rate. So they pay us a mortgage payment over 25 years, 0% interest, and that payment is less than $400. So when you compare that to the average rent in Evansville for a 2-bedroom home, which is $800 right now, it's a very affordable option for those low-income families that are struggling to put a roof over their
And they have to put a lot of their own sweat equity in
Yeah,
as well.
they have to perform 300 sweat equity hours, first helping others build their homes and then building their own home. And then they also take a series of home ownership classes so that they're well prepared to move in that home. I often say, you know, if you're a renter and your water heater goes out, what do? You call your landlord. But when you're a homeowner, you've got to know what other steps to take, that you call a plumber or you call somebody else to come fix it. And, you know, so we alert them that they're no longer renters, they are homeowners now.
I've got 2 more questions for you,
Okay.
but let's go ahead and get the top half, or
Great,
the
thank
bottom
you.
half started. Mark can go ahead and start, but I want you to stay right here, because I want to ask you a couple more questions in between
Okay.
pitches.
We start off the bottom of the second with left-hander Jack Meggs starting off the frame, the left-handed batter, as he's down in the count 0-1. Otters again were able to get out of that last inning with the lead. And Randall, I did get an official scores explanation. Batter's interference was what they ruled.
There you go.
That the batter apparently left the bat over the plate long enough that it interfered with the catcher's ability to corral it. So batter's interference was the call.
Good break for the Otters right there.
Indeed. As the 1-1 pitch going to be bunted up the third base line, and that'll go foul, now 2-1.
Beth, for anyone listening who wants to apply for the program, who wants to become involved and possibly get a house, how do they do that?
Super easy. You can either go to our website and apply online, or you can come by our office and pick up an application there, or call us and we'll mail you an application.
Anyone who wants to get involved volunteering, how do they do that?
Same thing. Super easy. You can go to our website and sign up. We've got a calendar of opportunities on our website, or you can call our office, and we're always happy to have people come out and help. Our volunteers are the best. They really are.
That's Beth Foltz, Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity. I know you guys have got a lot of people out here tonight. Hope you enjoy the game. Hopefully we'll get an Otters win.
Yes. Go Otters.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
All right, so again, the count now to 2-2. As we start the bottom half of inning number 2, it's wrapped to second base on a big hop Hill will take it and fire to first. Veith receives for out number 1. Leadoff man is retired, and that is the first time that the Otters have had their leadoff man retired. 2 out of the 4 half innings have saw the leadoff man get aboard, as Meggs is retired 4-3.
That'll bring to the plate Rob Calabrese. He's having a pretty solid year this year, hitting .274, 5 home runs, 16 RBI.
Pretty solid indeed. It landed him a trip to participate in the Can-Am versus Frontier League All-Star Contest. He cracks the first pitch to deep left field. Back on that ball is Recusant, and it is gone. Circle the bases, a first pitch swinging. Solo home run off the bat of Rob Calabrese, his 6th of the season, and that's going to double up that Otters lead 2-0. And Randall, no all-star slump for him. He came up swinging the bat hot here in his first at-bat.
It was almost as if he heard us say he's having a pretty solid year, and
solid.
Taking exception to that. He said, guys, I'm having a really good year.
Well, indeed, the all-star again building upon his candidacy, as that ball jumped to left field. Bases remain clear. A run in for the Otters as they now have a 2-0 advantage. That'll bring the left-hander Hunter Cullen to the plate. Cullen on the season, a .256 batter. 6 home runs and 21 RBIs. Not too shabby when you can have a guy batting out of the 8 hole with 6 bombs on the season at the midway break.
The offense is clicking on all cylinders right now, facing one of the best pitching staffs in the league, and you've gotten at least 2 runs in the first 2 innings against them.
And again, I kind of alluded to the fact that the starters for this ball club, Lake Erie Crushers, every single one of their starters that the Otters will face this series all have ERAs below 3. It all starts with 2 point something. So the fact that, to your point, Randall, Evansville's already carved out a 2 spot, just an inning and a third into this contest, they've got to feel pretty good with the way that Welch has looked so far.
When you were saying, Andy McCauley, the game plan was try to get to that middle relief, try to get to the bullpen, and then grind it out. Well, if they keep this up, they're going to get to the bullpen pretty early tonight.
Second baseman Hill's playing deep with the left-hander up. He is now the one of 2 infielders facing the sun. 2-1 pitch is ripped into the screen. Foul. That'll square the count up at 2-2. Again, a very nice crowd here at Bosse Field on a Friday night. And Randall, I know you've spent plenty of time out at this field, this ballpark, and really there's not too many places you'd rather be on a Friday night in Evansville, Indiana during baseball season.
Especially when it's a pretty nice night tonight. A little humid, but not bad at all. And a good crowd out here on a Friday night. 2-2
pitch, got him swinging a nasty breaking ball that bit in on the hands from Romero. And that'll be his 3rd strikeout of the night. So far we've had 7 strikeouts combined between these 2 hurlers. And that'll now take us to the bottom of the lineup. And J.J. Gould, shortstop for the Otters, right-handed batter.
And if you're just a baseball fan who likes the history of baseball, I mean, you're not going to find much more of a historic park in the nation than Bosse Field when you just think about the events and the players that have played here at Bosse Field, the managers that have managed here at Bosse Field throughout the years. Jim Leland, a Hall of Fame manager, managed the triplets here back in the day.
First pitch, a fastball strike pumped in to put Gould behind in the count. 0-1, leadoff man. David Cronin would bat next should the inning continue, but right now, I think Alex Romero is saying enough of that after giving up the solo home run. He struck out Hunter Cullen, and now has gone quickly to 0-2 on the Otters shortstop with 2 gone here in the bottom of the second.
You know, how many people would know that there were NFL games played here at Bosse Field back in the 1920s?
Prior to stepping in the press box tonight, that's something, a little piece of history I wasn't aware of. As on 3 pitches, that is a good morning, good afternoon, and good night strikeout. J.J. Gould will have a seat. Again, both pitchers have struck out 4 through 2 innings of work. The difference is the Otters have cashed in a leadoff walk and a solo home run to take a 2-0 lead as we head to the bottom of the third. Otters have out-hit them 3-1, and so far everything's got to be looking pretty good as Randall, a familiar face, trots his way down the right field line.
Well, that would be our very own Ron Rhodes is sumoing tonight, and that is Ron wearing the red sumo gear.
Now, be honest, how much of an arm twisting do you think had to go into this to make Ron participate in this?
None. None whatsoever. Now, if you want to test your play-by-play abilities out, Mark, let's do play-by-play right here.
Well, right now I see a game of keep away as Ron's showing off the juke moves. He's
Ron's trying to use speed.
The rope-a-dope has come out.
Not the strategy you see from many sumos.
Ron might be on the ropes.
Yep, he's in trouble.
Down
he goes.
Down. Will we see a flying elbow or perhaps a?
Oh, I thought we might see a frog splash.
Did we go best of 3 here? No. Ron, he used his speed early on to his advantage, but he might have been gassed by the time he got dropped late in the rounds.
One of the highlights of the night, and I promise you can see that coming up later on tonight on Eyewitness News at 9 and 10.
And Randall,
Jessica is back in the studio for us tonight. She'll have all the highlights.
Hopefully talking about an Otters win.
Michael will have a package. He's going to take us behind the scenes of the broadcast tonight, something you don't get to see a lot of. So that'll be pretty nice. That'll be pretty neat. So make sure you tune in tonight on Eyewitness News at 9 and 10.
Randall, we talked about coming into this contest that if the season ended now, so to speak, the Otters would be playoff bound. That said, don't go thinking, however, that they've got that ticket punch, because when you look at the standings, they have a 1-game lead. If, for instance, the 3rd and 4th place teams in the standings sit just 1 game behind them. So conceivably, they're a bad series away from going from 2nd in the standings to 4th in the standings just like that.
And I promise you it's going to come down to the last few days of the season here in the Frontier League, because that seems to be the way that it always is. If I remember correctly from last year, I believe there were 4 teams in play for the final playoff spot at the end of the season, at the very last day of the year last year.
And I'll tell you what, these guys play 90-plus games a season, and every single one of them will tell you that is what they're living for, is the opportunity to compete and the opportunity to play meaningful games late in the season.
And Andy McCauley, in all honesty, has breathed new life into this Otters franchise, who, to be honest about it, just were, I hate to use the phrase dead in the water, but there was no direction until McCauley got here. After Greg Jelks left, of course, Jelks won a Frontier League championship in 2006, and then the Otters were just kind of aimless. They were rudderless, no direction for a long time until McCauley took over the franchise. He's now in his 10th year.
Wow.
The Otters have been in the playoffs the last 4 years in a row. They won the league championship back in 2016. So make no mistake about it, he will go down in the record books as one of the most successful managers in Otters history, as Welch picks up the strikeout.
Make that strikeout number 5 for the right-hander, as he is mowing them down. 2 1/3 innings, and again 5 Ks. You talked about Andy McCauley. I actually worked with him, not directly, but he was a manager in a league that I worked for. He worked for the Schaumburg Ball Club in the Northern League when I was up there, and he and I crossed paths a few times, and he was a guy that just every manager in the league respected him from the way his teams and he went about their business. As the first pitch grounded to second, just getting the speedy right-hander is Cronin. 4-3 on that bounce out, and much like the first inning, we're seeing a very efficient 3rd inning for Otters starter Jake Welch.
And, we're not supposed to have favorites in the journalism business, but it's hard not to root for a guy like Andy. He is so accommodating, such a nice guy. I don't think I've ever had him say no to me for anything that I've asked in his 10 years that he's been here. Plus, the Otters are winning again. So
winning
that makes
cures
it fun.
all. And how great it is, to your point, to be able to have a guy like that who not only has been successful in Evansville, but has stayed in Evansville. Obviously, minor league baseball, like a lot of professions, can be seen as a springboard to where, hey, if you have success at a certain level, teams start looking at you, leagues start looking at you. And Andy, again, the Otters, Evansville, the city of, fortunate to have him here.
And it's a very unique situation that McCauley has his job. He says, he just told me multiple occasions, and other members of the front office for the Otters have told me on multiple occasions, that job number 1 for them is to get these players to the next level, to get them back into organized baseball. That's their first priority, and that's goal number 1. And McCauley has been able to do that when you look at his track record, sending players back into organized baseball and still being able to win, that has to be such a tough thing to do because you're losing players on a daily basis.
You're trying to shape and mold these guys into the best versions of themselves, but if they get to be too good, all of a sudden you don't see them anymore. As the 0-2 pitch taken down low by Aaron Hill. He lined out to third. Ryan Long snagged that drive in the first. Bases clear, 2 men out. Otters have already had 5 guys picked up by affiliated teams. I believe 4 of which have been pitchers. Swing and a miss. Tipped it into the glove. Did Hill. Strikeout number 6. And that will be a nice clean 1-2-3 inning for the right-hander. No runs, hits, errors, or men left as we move to the bottom of the second. And Randall, as a broadcaster, obviously we love the opportunity to sit up here and talk baseball, but to me there's nothing better than a good, paced, well-played ball game, and we're moving right along.
And
knock on 3 layers of wood.
And Welch is finding his pace right now. He is pitching extremely well. It'll be interesting to see if the Otters can tack another run on the board here as we go to the bottom half of the third. The offense has gotten to Romero so far here tonight. Which is,
I would say, a lot of people who follow the Frontier League, they're probably a little surprised to see Evansville out early, just knowing that, again, they being Lake Erie, a very good pitcher on the mound. But, again, we alluded to this earlier, Evansville's got a pretty darn good offense as well.
They really do. And they're showing it tonight. They've been able to score multiple ways. Again, like we were talking about earlier, lead-off walk led to run, get them on, get them over, get them in. Rizzatello has a home run tonight, so they're able to score in multiple ways.
We were talking about the Otters, and again, doing a good job of packing the house here on a Friday night. They currently are 6th in the league in attendance, averaging just a shade over 2,100 a night. And I'm looking across the crowd tonight, see a lot of fans going, a lot of fans waving fans, I guess I should say. Is to your point, Randall, it is a humid night. Not too much of a breeze to speak of, but again, not too bad for July either.
Well, Wayne done us a pretty good job. Nearly as hot and humid as it has been the last couple of nights, so good job, Wayne Hart.
Looking around the rest of the Frontier League contest tonight, it's Washington playing Schaumburg. That's the Wild Things against the Boomers kicking off their second half. Meanwhile, Joliet, the Slammers, are at Southern Illinois taking on the Miners. River City will tangle tonight with the Windy City Thunderbolts. And finally, it is those Florence Freedom, team with the best record in the Frontier League. They're taking on the Gateway Grizzlies. And Gateway, meanwhile, in the season, they are 21-39 games under 500. So a good chance, if you're Florence, maybe to try and pad that lead a little bit on the Otters. They currently sit with a 6-game advantage over this Evansville ball club.
Our good friend Zane Clodfelter, I just heard a few moments ago, give us a nice plug for Home Team Friday, which will be firing up again before we know it. August 23rd, opening night, and we'll have all the highlights.
And you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm already seeing some two-a-day footage.
We started our previews this week. We'll have them. We're going to hit 40 teams this year before. Wow. We're going to do it all before opening night, so we have to get started early.
1-0 pitch, lifted foul down the third base line, giving chase is Wofford, but he'll watch it sail into the parking lot, hopefully avoiding all cars. So 40 teams. Now, are we talking just Evansville? Are we talking Indiana, Kentucky?
Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois. If you're in the viewing area, you're probably going to see your team previewed this year.
So not to steal some of your thunder, but can you give me a insider's peek, if you will, at who's going to be some of the tougher teams in the area?
Well, I think if you're talking about in the Evansville area, in the SIAC, I think you got to start with Central. Of course, they went to the 4A state championship game last year, lost a lot of pieces to last year's team, but they're loaded at running back. The Evans brothers are back this year. They haven't been cleared to play yet, ruled eligible due to some transfer issues, but if they are back, then they're just going to be absolutely loaded at running back. A transfer in from the Terre Haute area to play quarterback this year. So the early favorites, at least when the SIAC, I think you have to go with Central.
So you spoke to their running depth, bringing in a experienced quarterback as well. So do you look to see them stay as a more of a balanced team, or are they going to be more run heavy?
I think if you get the Torjean brothers both eligible to go along with Schutte, who will be back again for this year, I mean, that is just a deadly 1-2 punch with Torjean and Schutte at running back. maybe the best combination not only in the city but maybe in the state of Indiana.
1-2 pitch was taken low and inside. Starting off the inning is Jack Meggs, the .252 hitting right fielder. Leads the team in stolen bases with 13. So again, this is ideal to see him start off the inning. As again, we're seeing Romero struggle a bit more than what his numbers might suggest. He's ran the count full now to 3-2.
We have to wonder if Romero's getting a little frustrated out there. You mentioned his numbers are way better than what we have seen tonight. The Otters got to him early with 1 run in the first, maybe rattled him a little bit.
They play the left-hander not to pull, leaving a big gap in right center field. 3-2 pitch, taken high, ball 4, leadoff walk. We saw how that turned out in the first. Let's see if the Otters can duplicate that success here in the third.
What's the old saying, leadoff walk skill?
Indeed.
Percentage?
Indeed.
To come around and score on a leadoff walk?
You can't give good teams extra outs, whether that's with errors or whether that's base runners with free passes. And no matter if you're the top pitching staff in the league, which they are, certainly that's not a recipe for disaster. As Greasaber will bat from the right side. Shows bunt, pitches up and in, and gets away from the catcher. That'll send the base runner, and I apologize, I had that down as Jack Meggs. That was David Cronin who led off with a walk. So Cronin, that's now 2 walks for him this contest.
Duplicate of the first inning.
He did indeed come around and score.
See if Greasaber can follow suit with a single like he had in the first.
Wild pitch will move the runner into scoring position.
And that will probably, you have to wonder if that'll take out the bunt play now, as Greasaber had shown bunt.
I would imagine that would probably depend on how well he handles the bat and how capable he is to be able to shoot the ball to the right side. There was the pitch to do it, a fastball that just caught the outside corner. Will square the count at 1 and run. Cronin, the runner at second, has swiped 11 bases on the season. He's only been caught once.
Of course, you also don't have to have a bunt to advance the runner over to third. Just anything hit to the right side on the ground will get Cronin over to third as well.
The right fielder Kraft currently shielding his eyes so he could face some trouble should the ball be put out that way. Nice rip by Greasaber. Will put him down in the count 1-2. Otters again's plated 1 in the first. That was on an RBI single by Mike Rizzatello. Solo home run from Rob Calabrese, the All-Star. Made it 2-0. Leadoff man reached with a walk. Took second on a wild pitch. Otters now looking to manufacture that third run. Breaking ball is swung on, well, a check swing will go for the strikeout. That is a big, big strikeout for Romero.
Well, that's the first one of the inning.
Well, we saw singing the praises of Welch as he has struck out 6. That's already now 5 strikeouts for Romero. So, again, both pitchers are.
They're dealing tonight.
They are.
Long struck out his first time up tonight in the first inning. A couple of runners on. They were not able to cash it in.
Challenged him with high fastballs, and Ryan was not able to put bat on ball. Goes fishing at that first pitch. May have been the change of pace. 0-1. Well, Randall, we talked about in the city who you expect to see strong. Who's a team that, and again, I know it's well too early to make any kind of concrete claims, but who do you look to kind of have a bounce-back season? Somebody who the last couple of years maybe has been down and the stars have aligned to where they've got some younger guys maybe now moving into upper-class roles and they're ready to make that statement.
In the city, I like Mater Dei. The Wildcats went 6-6 last year. They got a lot, and that is, to make no mistake about it, when you think of 6-6, you're thinking, well, that's not too bad of a record. That's that's not a losing record, but 6-6 for that school out on the west side, that's not a very good year. And
borderline blasphemous.
Mike Gable is not going to be happy with a 6-6 record. He's got a lot of guys back this year. His quarterback is back in Hoppy. I think Mater Dei is primed to get back into the form that they were 3-4 years ago when they were just making a run to the SIAC every year, and it seems like they were going to regionals and semi-state every year. They've fallen off a bit over the last couple of years, but I think they're going to make a run this year.
Certainly,
I like Mater Dei.
Something to keep an eye on.
In Kentucky, I like Madisonville. Jay Burgett's doing a great job with that program down there. They won 10 games last year. They have maybe the best running back in the area, definitely in Western Kentucky. And Jariah Hightower is back. Lost some pieces from his offensive line. They lost the quarterback. But I think Madisonville's going to have a really big year.
It's exciting to see the great talent in this area. Certainly Southern Indiana, and I know we're talking about Madisonville as well, but when looking at the Evansville area, it seems to be that they always kind of have that chip on their shoulder of, the southern part of the state's not necessarily known for producing those big-time prospects that end up playing the big-time college ball. But, again, whenever you see the guys do well, it's almost like a brotherhood of representing this area.
Well, you say that, and Apollo got several big-time Division I prospects on their team this year, and I think that's going to be the question there. If they have enough pieces to go around those 2-3 guys, and if they can gel, because if you follow Philip Hawkins on Twitter, which I do, it seems like every day there's a Kentucky, there's a Notre Dame, there's an Alabama in at Apollo practice to see his 2 or 3 guys.
Those are some pretty big names you're throwing out there.
He's got some pretty big-time D1 prospects.
Now, are these skilled players or are these big boys up front?
He's got a couple of linemen and a tight end.
Okay.
That they're looking at.
Second walk of the inning. This one goes to Ryan Long. Will prompt a quick chat from the pitching coach for Lake Erie, as there's now 2 men aboard for the right-handed batting cleanup catcher, Mike Rizzatello. His RBI knock plated the game's first run. He has one of the 3 Otters hits. So 3 walks already on the night for Romero. Told you on the season in 10 starts, he had 20. So simple math tells you he averages roughly 2 a night. So again, he's trending down looking at his normal numbers, as there's a ground ball down the third base line. Laid and into the corner it goes. It scores 1. Do I hear 2? Long, they're waving him. It's bobbled in the corner. He'll make it in standing. 2 RBI single. 4-0 Otters. They may, in fact, give him a double on that. We'll see. I don't know if the bobble cost them the extra base or not. Either way, the Otters plate 2. And again, how about that? 4-0.
Going to line up at second regardless, and he absolutely scorched the baseball. The third baseman, it was either make a play or get out of the way. He chose to get out of the way. And in all honesty, it's a play that probably should have been made at third, but give it to Rizzatello. He absolutely blistered that ball down the third base line, 1 hopper past the third baseman. Regardless, he ends up at second. 2 runs are on the board, and the Otters now have a 4-0 lead.
Well, they say good things happen when you put the ball in play, and again, you force the defense to make that play.
Just hit it hard. Hit it somewhere, hit it hard.
First pitch is low, and Randall, to your point, if Romero wasn't agitated and annoyed before, I'd say he is now. Again, uncharacteristic with 3 walks already, and Randall, all 3 have scored so far, so I think we're on to something there.
Walks kill, leadoff walks kill.
0-1 pitch fouled into the screen, quickly 0-2 on the right-handed hitting Carlos Castro. He was a strikeout victim back in the first, final out of the inning.
I like to watch Carlos swing. He puts everything he has into it. And when you see a guy who swings like that, it's a little surprising that his batting average is as high as it is.
Agreed. Close to 300 on the season.
He literally swings from his shoes.
He's not scared up there, that's for sure. 0-2 pitch. Stays up and in. That'll push it to 1-2. Up, check that. Looks like 2-1, says home plate umpire. And that again is James Purnell. Left-handed batter on deck. 1 man gone in the inning. That came on a Grease Saber strikeout. Swing and a miss. Throw down to second, and no. Close, but not quite in time.
Rizzatello almost got caught napping out there at second.
Tell you what, De La Rosa's made some pretty strong throws to second base, the catcher for Lake Erie. I'm not sure that Evansville is going to be too keen on running or getting cued out on the base pass. That was a bang-bang play at second as the Otters catcher was apparently able to get back in time.
Rizzatello showing wheels of a catcher.
Now the kick and the 2-2 pitch, off-speed pitch, and down to a knee goes Castro. Up to this point, we've seen a lot of fastballs going for the strikeout. Well, Romero decided to go ahead and break off an off-speed pitch, and Castro was not able to catch up to it. Strikeout number 6 on the evening, so we're up to 12. Baker's dozen for the 2 pitching staffs combined. Left-handed batting, Jack Meggs. He bounced out to second to lead off the second. He hits with a runner aboard, 2 men gone, runner in scoring position for the Otters, already leading by a 4-0 score. Otters have out-hit the Crushers 4-1.
Good chance to really crack this one open. If you can get that extra run, which would be the 5th run of the night in from second.
And you know probably the happiest guy in the ballpark right now, that's right-hander Jake Welch.
He's got some runs to work with.
He
now.
does indeed, and he's again shaved for a bit of a rough second inning. He's been on point. Count to 0-1. Romero works from the stretch, comes set at the belt. Now the kick and the delivery. Fastball stays high. They'll square the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. The fans that have joined us tonight in the home run party pavilion, they're still enjoying a sun-filled early evening. For the most part, everybody else in the stands is under cover and under shade. And again, on a gorgeous Friday night, game 1 of a 3-game tilt between these 2 Frontier League ball clubs with playoff aspirations.
And a good crowd out here tonight, too. One of the best crowds I've seen out at Bosse Field this year.
And make
That's
no mistake,
exactly right,
make
Zane.
no mistake about it. The players feed off that. I mean, it is what it is, but certainly you don't enjoy coming to the ballpark as much when you've only got a couple hundred people in the stands. So having your home team crowd, I should say, support you certainly makes a difference. 2-1 pitch, fastball will miss the outside part of the plate. Now slides to 3-1. Should the inning continue, Mr. Calabrese, he of the all-star caliber hitting home run, would be next. 3 balls, 1 strikes. Runner at second. That's Rizzatello. He doubled as the count will now go full 3-2. Rizzatello tonight's making an early run for player of the game. 2 for 2, 3 RBIs, a single and a double. He's halfway to the cycle, but we alluded earlier, he's a catcher. So that said, Bosse does have some big gaps.
He may have to find a gap to be able to drive in Rizzatello.
3-2 pitch will stay high. That is walk number 4 already of this contest. And that'll put 2 aboard. Inning continues for Calabrese. And
At this point in time, you start to look down at third base line and into the Lake Erie bullpen, see if anyone's up and warming up. Not yet.
Romero has yet to work a clean inning. He faced 5 batters in the first inning. He had 4 men come to the plate in the second, 2 strikeouts, a solo home run and a ground out. Now here in the third, it's gone walk, strikeout, walk, double strikeout, walk.
Let's see if Calabrese's taking on a first pitch fastball this time.
You know, I'm not so
Let's see
sure.
if that's what he gets.
I'm not so sure he's going to get one. We'll see what Romero's thinking. 2 on, 2 out. First pitch was a fastball, but this one was of the upper variety. Had some giddy up to it. And that's not a pitch that Calabrese's probably going to be able to do a whole lot with.
He got one on the inside corner his last bat and turned on it and yanked it over the fence in left field.
A 1 slide piece will stay high. Squares the count at 1-1. On deck, center fielder Hunter Cullen. One of several strikeout victims tonight for the Otters. Again, there's been 6 of them on the night for Romero, but he has uncharacteristically been tagged for 4 early runs through 2 2/3. There's a nice-looking breaking ball. Must have stayed a bit high, though. 2-1 on Calabrese.
Well, he's definitely staying away from him this at bat. Not giving him anything inside to turn on.
Lead runner again is Rizzatello. He doubled in 2. Meggs is at first. He's got a good lead. They're not holding him aboard. 2-1 pitch. That's going to find a gap left center field.
That'll drive in another run.
Rizzatello come on down. Meggs goes from first to third. RBI single for Calabrese. And Randall, you may be again onto something. I think these guys may hear us. We were saying that he had a good season, or a okay season, a good season. He turned around with a solo home run. Talking about Rizzatello having the inside track to player of the game. Well, Calabrese again not having any of that. His RBI single to the gap in left field will score a run as Rizzatello scores from second. As that is the third man in the inning for the Otters, who've now staked themselves to a 5-0 lead. As that will bring up again Hunter Cullen, the center fielder. He again was a strikeout victim, the third of the night by Romero.
So maybe the player of the game early now goes to Calabrese.
Indeed. 2 on, 2 out. Romero, pitch count starting to climb. First pitch, painted over the outside half for the 0-1 count. J.J. Gould, Evansville's shortstop and ninth place hitter, would be the ninth man of the inning to hit should Hunter Cullen keep the inning rolling.
That would get it back to the top of the inning with still runners on, and the Otters got a chance to put a big number on the board this inning. Already 3 in here in the bottom half of the third.
1 in the first, 1 in the second, 3 more in the third. As again, that's this early pitching duel that we thought we were going to see has been decidedly one-sided.
And you have to like the effort that this offense has put on the field. First game back after the All-Star break, they kind of limped into the All-Star break just a little bit, maybe not playing as good a baseball as they had been 2 weeks before.
I know they'd lost 2 in a row coming into tonight, 4 and 6 over their last 10. And there's our stirring down the left field line as the Crushers, I'm sure much earlier than they thought, will get a right-hander up. 2-1 pitch, outside now 3-1. The wind is, for the most part, died down here.
And you have to wonder if this may be his last batter. Gould gets on tonight. That may do it.
And I was incorrect. It's actually the left-hander, Jake Repovich, getting loose down the line. 3-1 pitch. That'll miss as well. Ball 4. And more than anything, I think, you can live with giving up some hits, but the walks
has killed them tonight.
Yep. And again, not a guy that on the season has really been bothered by the walk bug, but it's got him in trouble tonight, and he is in deep right now. Bases are loaded. An Otter at every bag. J.J. Gould will come to the plate. He struck out on 3 pitches, so a quick at-bat last time up. Let's see if he pulled anything from that first AB and can put the ball in play here.
Well, and I promise you this will be his last at-bat if he can't get Gould out.
Ninth man to hit in the inning. 3 in, 3 on. First pitch will miss the zone low, 1-0. So Romero, six strikeouts. But again, he's also had 5 walks. That's
not good.
That's a recipe for disaster.
That is not good.
Catcher sets up over the outside part of the plate. The ball skips in low, 2-0 now.
So he's fallen behind in the count here. Gould's going to get one to swing at if he wants it this next at bat, this next pitch. He won't want to go down 3-0 with the bases loaded. He'll get one to hit right here.
As a hitter, this is what you are dreaming about when you lay your head on that pillow. Bases loaded. He's in a hitter's count, 2-0. He knows Romero has to come to him, and he'll now take the fastball high, 3-0. All right, Randall, you're hitting 204 on the season. Any chance we see a green light here? I didn't even get the question out of my mouth.
He has had a tough time finding that strike zone. Your guy hitting right at 200, bases loaded. I'm taking 2.
That's maybe not a bad plan. Here's the 3-0. right down the pipe. We'll move it to 3-1.
Yeah, he took a little something off of it that time.
Again, we've got Meggs at third, Calabrese at second, Hunter Cullen at first.
Tony, I'd take one more.
Nope. Instead, he'll rip it into left field. It'll score a pair. Otters are running on all cylinders tonight. 2 men score on a J.J. Gould single into left. And Evansville, how about this start? 7-0, and we're still not out of the third.
And that's why I'm not the manager. And that will do it. Lake Erie will go to the bullpen. So a good start for the Otters tonight.
And they've done it with, at times, a patient approach. Only I can think of, obviously, the home run from Calabrese jumped on the first pitch, but for the most part, they were trying to work the count deep. And, it's important. Not only does this play into tonight's contest, but, Randall, this is the first game of a 3-game series. You get into the bullpen this early in the first game of the series, and that could have ramifications for Game 2 and Game 3, forcing those other guys in the starting staff to pick up the slack.
Well, if the other starters have the type of outing that Romero had tonight, that means your bullpen's going to be pretty busy and not get a lot of rest. Now, let's not forget this is the first game of the 3-game weekend series, your first game back after the All-Star break. Not played as well as you wanted to play the last week and a half heading into the break, and you come out and you put 7 runs on the board in the first 3 innings tonight. Andy McCauley's going to like that.
Book is still open for Romero. Right now he's sitting at 2 2/3, 7 runs, all earned. He's given up 6 hits, walked 5, and struck out 6. That is a lot of crooked numbers as he will give way to the left-hander, Jake Repovich, 6'1", 200-pounder. And we'll take a look at Jake's numbers on the season, and he'll get thrown right into the fire. And as a relief pitcher, you're certainly used to that, but certainly you would prefer to come in a clean inning.
Well, and he's going to want to come in and just stop the bleeding right now. And like you said, he's coming in a tough spot. Still runners at the corners for the Otters as the order flips now. We go back to the top.
Repovich, 15th appearance on the season. He made 3 starts on the season, a 4-2 record with a 3.6 earned run average. He's thrown 40 innings here in 2019, giving up 33 hits, 19 runs, 16 earns, 14 walks, and 36 strikeouts. Opponents are hitting .223, so a pretty anemic batting average against this left-hander. What I'm happy about if I'm Lake Erie here, if there's a whole lot to be happy about, you're bringing in a guy who's made 3 starts on the season, so clearly this isn't somebody who's only going to get him a couple batters. They're looking at an innings eater here.
Cronin steps back into the plate, top of the order. His second at-bat in the inning as the Otters have sent 9 to the plate.
David has yet to really need to get the bat off his shoulder. He walked on 4 pitches in the first, walked in the third this same inning. He's scored a pair. He's got a chance to extend a already robust 7-0 Otters advantage. Lefty on lefty. First pitch tails up and in, ball 1.
I misspoke. I said the Otters had runners at the corners. They actually have them first and second for Cronin. Still looking for his first hit tonight. But I'm sure he'll take those 2 walks. That's what your leadoff guy you want him to do.
Conversely, they have yet to get him out.
Want your leadoff guy to get on any way possible.
1-0 pitch, stayed low, 2-0, and missing the zone with consecutive pitches is Repovich.
That's what did in Romero tonight. His inability to throw strikes.
Crushers playing straight up to the Otters leadoff hitter, Cronin. Corners are a bit deep in center. Davidson's in a couple steps. The Crushers left-hander takes a look at the runner at second, sails the 2-0 pitch up and in, 3-0. You do have a base open. It just happens to be third. On deck is the Otters left fielder, Keith Griesaber, who's singled and struck out tonight.
I would imagine Cronin's taking, you would think, in a 3-0.
Now the kick and the 3-0. Just did shave that outside corner. Certainly not a pitch you're going to swing at 3-0 anyway, but getting the call, getting the strike was Repovich.
I see Ron Rhodes has made his way into the booth. We'll have to get Ron in between innings and talk about that sumo match.
Runners get their leads. 3-1 pitch rolled down the right field line, taken by the first baseman, who actually flips to the covering Repovich for a 3-1 putout to mercifully, if you're a Lake Erie fan, end this third inning. However, 10 men come to the plate. Of those 10 men, count them, 5 scored, as Evansville again has extended that lead. 5 runs on another 4 hits. Check that, 3 hits, no errors, 2 men left. As we head through the now 4th inning, Evansville in command, 7-0. And Jake Welch, as we said, he is one happy guy.
Well, he's got some run support to work with now. Got quite a long leash, I would imagine.
And certainly against a team like Lake Erie, you know that typically, offense is something they struggle with. So certainly you're not going to go completely off script. But if there's anything that you needed to work on, if there's a situation that you wanted to try and catch up on some of your finer points, this is the type of ball game that you want to do it with a 7-0 lead. Again, Evansville, they've scored in every inning so far. They got 1 in the first, picked up another in the second on a solo home run, and just had and that's probably my fault, Randall. I said the game was moving merrily along. A 10-batter third inning that saw Evansville plate 5, but, if you're the home team, you'll take it with a 7-0
lead.
lead.
After a 5-run inning. Ron Rhodes joins us now in the booth, and Ron, I wanted to ask you about that strategy you had in the sumo.
Okay.
You don't see many sumos try to utilize their speed.
Well,
Bold choice.
Well, let me tell you something, Randall. I've been around a long time. The greatest boxer in my lifetime was Muhammad Ali. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. That was my motto. And he did the rope-a-dope. He wanted to wear the other guy out. Now, unfortunately, since I only had 2 minutes, before the next inning started, maybe I should. That was probably a poor strategy on my part. I ended up wearing myself out, and then he took me out pretty easy. And he's a young, strapping lad, Randall. He's like about 20 years old, so he had me there.
A little disappointed, Ron.
Sounds like what you're saying is, had the match gone maybe a couple more innings, in the end, the long game would have definitely played to your favor.
Yeah, if they would have given me more time, I think my dancing around well, no, it wouldn't. I probably would have passed out. It's a nice night out there, but it's still a little warm in those sumo outfits, no doubt.
But it did look like it was a lot of fun.
Man, I tell you what. It was fun. I enjoy doing this. I love this game. The Otters are playing so fantastic right now. It's a lot of fun for the fans. I think this is the biggest crowd of the season.
Well,
right?
We were talking about that. It's definitely the biggest crowd that I have seen out here so far this year. Do you make it out to a lot of games throughout the week? Weekend, I'm sure. Maybe not.
I can't do it during the week. You know how it is.
4 in the morning.
Well, yeah, when you get up at around 3 in the morning, I get in around 4. You're definitely not going to too many games during the week. But yeah, I love coming out to the Otters game. And this is big crowd. I had to park on the other side of Garvin Park. I'm almost to Diamond Avenue, guys, but that's okay. It's well worth it. Nice night for a walk to get my 10,000 steps to get to the game.
Well, and for a good reason tonight, Habitat for Humanity night.
Yes.
And I know you're big in on that as well.
Yes, I am. I've helped with a couple of Habitat houses, and it's a lot of fun. Although, I tell you what, I go out there, and you're working with a lot of experienced guys. You don't have to know a whole lot about what you're doing because you got a lot of help.
Probably be able to drive a nail, though, right?
You got to do well. Yeah,
that might rule me out.
Well, speaking of that, I pull out my hammer, and I had some guy just laugh me out of the house. He said, "You call that a hammer? That is a toy." He pulled out his hammers about twice my size, and he was popping them in with one pop. It was taking me about 3 or 4 to get that nail in. He said, "Rose, you're going to be here all day."
Well, now I got to ask you, Ron, did you bring your own hammer?
I could have used a hammer in that sumo wrestling. My motto is, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying hard enough.
There you go.
And I wasn't I wasn't trying hard enough because I wasn't cheating.
That's why you're a Patriots fan.
No, I'm not. Not here. Not anywhere.
2-2 pitch to Morero's lifted foul as we start the 4th inning. It's 3-4-5 for the Crushers, who face right-hander Jake Welsh, camped out to a nice 7-0 lead.
Were you in Evansville back in the day? How long have you been in Evansville?
I've been in 95. I came back. I'm from Owensboro, so I'm from just down the road, but working since 95.
So you remember the Triplets. If you were originally from Evansville, you remember the Triplets?
I used to come to Triplets game back in the day, and, of course, back then, the brick wall was your home run.
Yeah.
You're talking, it was one heck of a poke to get it out. And I remember Kirk Gibson would even tell stories. They'd bring it up to him. It's about playing at Bossy Field. So, yeah, man, you had to hit it a long way to get it out of that park. But now they brought the fences in. I think it's better for the fan experience too. So not as hard down the lines anyway.
I have seen one or two hit over the brick fences.
Are you serious?
At Otters games. Not many, but I've seen it happen once or twice.
Well, I'd heard from a few guys who'd been around in the 60s when they came in. They were actually a Twins AAA farm club at the beginning, and that's the reason why they called them the Triplets. Yeah, and because it was from the Tri-State Triplets, kind of matched up with Twins. I thought it was a great name.
Welch gets the punch out. He's pitching extremely well tonight.
Yeah, he really is. The other guy, do you think he should have been given the hook, the old Sparky Anderson hook, a little bit earlier than what he was?
You know,
one of the better pitchers in the league.
Yeah.
Is he really?
Give him a chance to work it out.
I
Wasn't
guess.
able to do it tonight.
That's okay. I mean, I don't mind that a bit. I'm glad he's having an off night tonight, or he did.
That'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Zach Raxcusen, as the first one did nip him. I was thinking it was going to be close. Might have got his shoelaces or his sock, perhaps, as that'll put a man aboard with one man gone, and John Cable, the switch-hitting designated hitter, to the plate.
Welch hasn't had many on tonight. He had a little bit of a rough second inning. But other than that, he's been pretty clean tonight.
This guy going to run? Do you think he's going to steal, guys? I've seen a few attempted steals tonight. They're trying to.
I don't know.
I've got him down as I don't have his numbers listed, which means he probably hasn't stolen many. They're down 7.
I said Gold should have taken on his 2 RBI singles, so that shows you why I'm not the manager. Bases loaded, and it's a 3-1 count, and I'm up here saying take. And then he rips a 2-run single.
I tell you what, though, the Otters they're having a great year. It's really great for Evansville that we've got a team that's this good.
And good to see a good crowd out here tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
Cable in the first at bat, back in the second, went down looking on a breaking ball. 0 for 1 on the night. Runner at first with a short lead, 1-0 pitch. He fakes the go, breaking balls, lined in the center, coming in is Cullen, still coming in, he's got it. Runner scampers back to the bag.
Good play.
Well, Ron was asking if he was going to steal. He had the fake right there.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to go, but he went back on that. But, yeah, I guess you're right. It's a 7-0 lead, but, maybe they figure they got to gamble, do what they can do.
You're down 7-0, and your offense really isn't
right. Kind of give them a spark.
One of the better ones in the league. You got to be aggressive out there and try to make something happen.
Yeah, the Crushers aren't exactly crushing it, are they?
I see what you did there. A little play on words.
Stephen Kraft, the right fielder, walked in his first plate appearance, made it all the way to third, but was stranded there back in the second. First pitch, spun a breaking ball upstairs, did Welch, 1-0.
We've seen a few Otters make their way to the majors. Do you think any of these have potential?
Well, we talked about there's already been 5 guys this season for the organization called up.
Right.
Of course, former Otter George Sherrill.
Oh, yeah.
Made the All-Star game.
Yeah, I know.
A few years ago.
That was really great. And I love how a lot of the families, kind of sponsor the Otters. And
I think that's really neat.
And that's a great tradition that keeps on going. Help out these players.
Have host families that they basically live with.
Right.
Rent-free throughout the season. And I know the players, they become close with the family. And I say they live rent-free with most of the players that I've talked to. They have chores.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That they have to do. They still have to put in a little work there.
Let's see. I could use somebody to mow my lawn for free. That might not be a bad deal.
I'm sure that's part of it.
Maybe I need to become a host family here. I've got a spare room, and then my son has moved out.
Count's gone to 3-1 on Kraft. 2 men gone here in the inning. 3-1 pitch is up and in, and after a hit batter, now a walk will put the second Crusher aboard. Just the second walk of the night for Jake.
Really the only second inning of the night that Welch has had a little bit of trouble.
So what you're saying is it's the even-numbered innings that are giving him trouble.
It is. And if you're the Crushers, you don't want to be swinging for the fences right now because that's not going to get you back into it. Get a run here, run there. Try to scratch your way back into this.
Veith struck out on a 1-2 pitch his first at bat, takes a mighty hack at the first offering and fouls it to the screen. No balls, 1 strikes.
Do you guys ever see the Otters like doing any shifting like they do in the major leagues for certain batters, or is the scouting that good at this level that they would know, where?
Oh, they definitely have scouting reports.
Okay.
They'll definitely have scouting reports.
So I'm not seeing a whole lot of shifting going on right now, but maybe these guys are playing it straight up.
Again, the Crushers have 2 men aboard, but now are down to their last strike in this frame as a big swing and a miss by Veith has him down 0-2. As Welch on the night's already struck out 7, gunning for his 8th, and he's in a good spot here, 0-2.
I wonder what the Otters' record for strikeout is.
If this pace continues, we're going to have to go digging through some.
Maybe. Oh, not a strikeout there, but he's got an easy out.
0-2 pitch dribbled back to the mound, a little shotgun heave. Over to the first base bag, will take care of Veith. 2 on, no trouble for Welch as he gets out of it on the 1-3 putout. We're now through 3.5 here at Bosse Field. Otters still plugging away. They lead it 7-0. Really, the drama for the next inning is going to be, can the Otters continue with their 4th consecutive inning, putting up a number on the scoreboard?
Well, at this point in time, you just want to keep throwing zeros up there.
There you go. It's the name of the game.
Ride it out.
As again, we thank you for joining us here tonight at the house the Otters built. It's a night that Eyewitness News is joining up and teaming up with the Otters for Habitat for Humanity. Our evening started with the reunion and the singing of the national anthem by the 500 voice choir. As the left-hander, Jake Repovich, he'll get a full inning, at least that's the plan, of work. As Romero, you can now close the book on him. 2 2/3, 7 runs, all earned. Gave up 6 hits, 5 walks, and 6 strikeouts. And Ron is a starting pitcher. That's an awful lot of crooked numbers. And again, I know you were thinking perhaps he might have got the hook a little late, but again, this is a guy that coming into tonight was 10th in the league in earned run average. And when you take a look at each pitcher the Otters are going to face in this series, each one of them has an ERA starting with 2. So if this is any indication of how the series is going to go, it'll be a fun series and a fun weekend here at Bosse.
I guess so. I mean, I think it is. I mean, I tell you what, the Otters playing well this year. They're obviously playing really well tonight. I wonder if the crowd, the bigger crowd, has them juiced just a little bit.
That's something Randall and I were talking about. These guys, they thrive off of that. It's you're a professional.
Right.
You're supposed to suck it up and play regardless of the conditions, but I can tell you that these guys get a whole lot more juiced for coming out to a packed house as opposed to playing, in front of crickets and 300 people.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a good point. And I guess it's tough during the week, especially, when you start, when there's still, I guess some students are still in school, but obviously now, I mean, we got them all out of school, although not for much longer. They're going back to school earlier and earlier these days. But, yeah, I see a lot of school kids out today, so that's always nice. Maybe we've got some future baseball fans coming in.
Well, to your point, summer has certainly jumped right through the pages. We're already midway through July. Mm-hmm. Otters starting off the second half strong here tonight at Bosse Field as Evansville sends the 2-3-4 batters to the plate. That's Grease Saber, Ryan Long, the All-Star, and Mike Rizzatello. Rizzatello's had himself a night tonight. 2 for 2, a single, a double, and 3 driven home.
Yeah, man, he's getting the job done. Maybe we can get somebody or a couple of them on base right here out in front of him. They could drive in a couple of more.
0-1 pitch from Repovich will stay away, squaring the count at a ball and a strike. Base is clear as Evansville starts the 4th, again leading 7-0. They've already pounded out 6 hits against this Crusher pitching staff. And the count to 2-1, Ron?
Just a bit outside.
Indeed. Now, Ron, I am curious. Whenever, obviously, you are a voice, a face that the Tri-State knows very well, how hard is it for you? As we'll continue
Whoa, it's going to slice in there. Oh, man.
Diving catch.
That was a good catch. You got to give him credit for that
Kraft. As the leadoff man is going to go down on the little looping line out to right. 1 man gone here in the 4th. What I was going to ask, though, was
Yeah.
just simple things. Going to the grocery store.
Oh, I don't mind. I don't mind people asking me about the weather. That's what
I was going to ask. Is
not at all.
that the go-to, though? Is it almost always a weather conversation? How many?
More often than not, it's a weather conversation or maybe a tie conversation, the
Okay.
color of my tie.
How about some funky fruit every now and
Funky
then?
fruit, I hear that a lot. But the weather's fine because if they don't watch, I don't have a job. And I think that's the bottom line. So I'm just happy they watch. And I've been around a long time. I think people are, I'm worried they're going to start getting tired of me, Mark.
I imagine you have a few tricks up your sleeve that if you were ever worried about that, you would go to.
Yeah, I tell you what. I really enjoy that they watch. It's nice. Really, it's nice to know.
Base is clear, one man gone. The 0-1 pitch will miss wide for the left-handed batting Ryan Long. Again, the all-star for the Otters. Represented well, had a knock in his time up north. He struck out in his first at-bat, walked and scored in his second. Looking for his first hit to start off this second half.
Mighty cut.
As the left-hander, Repovich got the fastball in and by him. Now 1-2. That would have been something to see, though, to your point. You were talking with Randall earlier about the looking out at the brick wall beyond what is currently the outfield wall here at Bosse Field.
Oh, and
home plate umpire says he went. It was a
did he
breaking
really?
ball
Man.
away. And what's interesting there, well, I guess
Looked like he checked on.
the base umpire's down the first base line, so appealing to the base umpire's not really going to help, as that's the first strikeout for Repovich. As quickly 2 men are gone, and you again don't necessarily want to see the home team go down 1-2-3, but at the same time, when you're up 7-0, Ron, it does help to see the game kind of progress along nicely, and Repovich has came in and restored a bit of order, getting the first 2 men gone.
Yeah, but he's been pretty wild, though. I mean, he's been kind of off the plate a bit.
Effectively wild.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's working out for him, isn't it? He's staying off the plate, but he's fooling a few batters.
You know, if you are a little leery of digging in there as a hitter, that always plays to your favors as a pitcher.
I think these Otters should take a few pitches with this guy. See if they
Rizzatello,
can work a few walks.
whatever he's been doing tonight, it's
man.
been working. He, again, has not been able to be put away by this Lake Erie pitching staff. Single and a double, 3 driven home. He's also scored a run.
Well, look at this. Now he's halfway to the cycle.
He is
So here we
indeed.
go. He gets a home run here. He gets another RBI, and he just needs to get that triple. Or maybe he can get a triple right now. Would that be great?
Ron might have called it.
Hardest one to come.
Oh!
Little looper down the
That's gonna be out.
line.
That's gonna be out.
Little too much English. I'm not a golfer. Was slice hook. What was that?
That
was
was
a slice.
Slice? All right.
If you're a righty, that was a slice.
Yeah, that's. I tell you what, though, and they got the bullpen out there. Nobody's. You got to have those catchers. It's like the old Wrigley Field when they used to have the bullpen, out there on the field, and have somebody watching for that.
Of course, Bosse's the third oldest
Yeah,
park in the nation. Professional park still in use behind Wrigley and Fenway.
yeah, and they're all wonderful old parks. I've never been to Fenway though.
Oh,
I like
it's
looking.
amazing.
Oh man, they get punched out. So you've been there. How many ballparks have you been to, Randall?
That is a very good question. I've been to Fenway, Wrigley, Old Turner Field, Riverfront, New Great American, Kaufman,
Yeah, I figured you'd be.
Bush, Old Bush.
You're not old enough to be on Crosley Field.
I
right?
was not at Crosley. I think that's 8 that I can think of relatively easily.
Yeah, that's pretty
off the top
good.
of my head.
Well, I know you're a Reds fan from way back, and I grew up a Reds fan too. In the 70s with the Big Red Machine, and what a team that was to watch. It's just so much fun to watch those teams. And, and Randall, I don't know, you became a Reds fan, I guess, probably in the 80s, 90s.
I grew up as a Reds fan.
Yeah, that's a – well, you're in Reds country, though. That's the thing. And I was too. Owensboro is basically Reds country. At least it was back then. So I always enjoyed watching those old teams and just the power those guys had. At a time when really there wasn't a whole lot of power going on across the area.
Who was the best Reds player that you saw in person?
Joe Morgan.
Joe Morgan?
Joe Morgan, easily the best. I mean, that guy, he was just such a spark plug. You know what I'm saying? He was fun to watch, too, with that arm flap that he had, when he was waiting for it. And our bench was great, but I think Bench's better seasons were before I was around. But Morgan, man, he'd get on base, he could steal, he could work his way on base so well, and he could field so well and turn that double play. Now, Morgan was just a fun guy. He's just a little guy, too, but he was fun to watch.
Just a little bit before my time.
Yeah.
I can barely remember the Big Red Machine. I'd have to go with Junior. That's probably the best. The best Reds player I've seen.
I thought Eric Davis was really good back in the 80s. Yeah, Davis, I remember going to see them down in spring training when they were training at Plant City. And Davis and Larkin were taking extra batting practice, and me and my buddies, we're the only ones pretty much in there after the game. We hung around as they took extra batting practice. And we were cheering on. I mean, they're just jacking these home runs. It was really fun to watch. But, yeah, he was a force, too, with his power and speed. I mean, he was just a thin guy, but he could rip the ball.
What's your favorite park?
My favorite park is Wrigley.
Wrigley is really nice.
Yeah. I mean, although I remember being in the press booth in Wrigley when Harry Carey was still around doing that. And we were working the press, and it was a rinky-dink little press booth. I mean, it was a tight squeeze and all that kind of stuff. A lot of announcers didn't like it. And then Harry would get out. Of course, we can't open up the windows here at Boise for you guys to hang out and do the seventh inning stretch. Oh, he got a hit there. Man.
As the first pitch is singled through the left side as Brian De La Rosa picks up the knock. Leadoff man aboard for the second time tonight. Jake Welch.
Old Harry Carey, man, he'd be hanging out when he'd do that, and he'd be swinging that
Swinging
mic.
the mic.
And we kind of figured, we looked down, we could see him hanging out farther on down the press row out one of the windows. And I kind of figured that's the way he was going to go. He was just going to fall down into the stands.
And you know what? If that's how Harry went, I'm pretty sure he'd be fine with
I
that.
think he would have been fine with that. But, yeah, he was quite a character. I never met him. I kind of walked down. I was watching him announce. I kind of walked down. I had to check it out. And we were actually watching the Expo, the old Expos. I wish they'd bring that team back. That was a good team. Tim Raines, that was another really good player I watched that day.
Well, Jamie Carroll and Lance Wilkerson, Brad Wilkerson.
Yeah. Yeah.
A couple of Tri-State guys who played for the Expos up in Montreal.
Sure did. Brad, well, I'll tell you what, he was quite a player in college player of the year.
I believe, my memory serves, that Brad hit for the cycle one night with the Expos.
Did he?
1-0 pitch is lefted to left, circling around and making the catch.
Got too far into that one. That's fine for us.
Out of Apollo High School.
Yeah, Apollo High School.
He was an All-American at Florida.
Who do you think the best? I guess Mattingly would be the best baseball player ever to come
from
out
this
of
area.
Evansville. Yeah, Mattingly. Don Mattingly. And I'm old enough to remember him playing, and he was. You talk about just an incredible stroke. I mean, he had just an incredible cut. And he was a good fielding first baseman, and it's the back problems ended that career just a little early. It was the saddest thing is that he was the best player the Yankees had during the biggest drought the Yankees had as far as world championships.
Probably one of those guys who will go down in history as being one of the best players not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, because for about a 4-year period,
he was the best in the game.
Yeah, he was as good as anybody, and so that's too bad that the back kind of gave out. What a great guy he is too.
One of my favorite stories that Brad Bird likes to tell me is the year that Mattingly won the batting crown in the American League. He went up on assignment.
Yeah.
They sent him up to do a story on Mattingly. I believe it was the last weekend of the regular season. But he was at Yankee Stadium and doing the story on Donnie. And that's the great thing about Mattingly. Still lives here in Evansville.
Yeah.
You can go up and talk to him. He's at he has season tickets for the Aces games. And he's not one of those guys that's going to big league you. He will sit and talk to you as long as you want to talk to him.
Absolutely. He is a genuine guy. And I've worked with him on a few projects too. He's very involved in the church here in Evansville, and I love that he comes back in the off season. Just ring him up. There you go.
Strikeout numero 8.
See you later, 29.
Or Ocho for Davison. If I went numero, I kind of had to go Ocho.
I guess that matches pretty well, doesn't it? Yeah, Mattingly looks great. Now, Roland, obviously, from just up the road in Jasper, one of the better players from this area, too.
But as Pat Hickey from the Courier and Press likes to say, calls Roland an Evansville native because he was actually born in Evansville.
That's right. He was born in Evansville Hospital. That's a good point. I don't know if they lived here for a little bit or he's just born down in the hospital. Because Jasper has a hospital.
Well, Jasper's a baseball machine.
Oh, are they really?
Up there anyway.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm surprised there aren't more guys from Jasper and more guys really, I guess, from Evansville that make it to the majors because this is really a baseball area, Because, more so I think than probably any other sport, I think, at least in my experience.
Well, it is in my time here. It's amazed me.
Oh, man.
There's an error.
Wow. Yeah, that's an E.
J.J. Gould has that one go 5-hole on him. The 1-0 pitch was a 3-hopper. That'll go as an E6, allowing the inning to continue 2-on, 2-out as it rolls now to the 3 spot and Emmanuel Marrero.
It's really amazed me the amount of Major League Baseball talent in my time that I've been here from the area. I mean, you've had Mattingly, Roland, Brad Wilkerson.
Right.
Jamie Carroll.
From
Newburgh.
Another great guy, too. And, Jamie can draw because I do like caricatures of people. Jamie is actually a really good caricature guy. I mean, he's done a few, and I've seen it, and they're fantastic. So he's got a lot of talents.
Jamie's a nice guy.
And he's a great guy.
Kyle Freeland played for the Aces.
Yeah. Kyle played in the major leagues
who is,
now.
He's getting recalled this weekend.
Good. Of course,
pitch.
Andy Bennis,
Andy Bennis, how could we forget Andy Bennis out of Central? Number one pick.
Yeah. I mean, and of course, he pitched a lot of years for the Cardinals, even though he was drafted by the Padres. But, man, he was an incredible pitcher, too. I mean, you're right. We've had a lot of talent from here. Gil Hodges. If you want to go way back.
I forgot about Gil Hodges.
I mean, Petersburg? I guess two places claim him. Is it Petersburg and I guess, not Vincennes, but some other place up there?
No, I'm not sure.
But anyway, I believe he's from Petersburg, so just up the road. Of course, they're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the amazing Mets, and he was their manager from right here in the Tri-State. So, of course, he played for those championship teams for the Dodgers back in the 50s. So, good old Gil.
Did not know Gil Hodges was a Hoosier.
Yeah. Well, if we really want to go way back, like to the early 1900s, wasn't Three Finger Brown? Well, he's from Terre Haute, so I guess Three Finger Brown, back in the the early part of the century or last century, I guess at this point, from just up the road. And I believe, is it Ed Roush? I think Ed Roush was from around here too.
You are right on that.
So maybe from Princeton. So, yeah.
Three Finger Brown. I've never heard of him.
You've never heard of Three Finger Brown?
I love those old baseball names.
They had great nicknames back then. We need more nicknames like that now. Although I guess a lot of them weren't exactly the nicest nicknames. But at the same, I don't know. I don't know if old Three Finger only had 3 fingers or not. Maybe he only pitched with 3 fingers. Maybe that was part of the deal. I don't know. But he was.
I love those. Something like Butterscotch Jenkins or something like that.
That's right. Butterscotch. Was there a Butterscotch Jenkins?
I have no idea.
I know. Yeah, you really don't see like the nicknames like you did before, like Charlie Hustle, obviously with Pete Rose, and just those kind of nicknames that
They kind of died out of the 70s. I mean, Catfish Hunter.
Yeah, Catfish. Yeah, exactly.
1-2 pitch.
Blue Moon Odom. Oh, it's got it.
Dealing tonight, Mark.
Swung on and missed. That's strikeout number 9 as Marrero's pleading his case. I don't know if he thinks that he tipped that ball or just isn't happy with the zone, but there goes the helmet.
Wow.
There goes the bat.
Yeah.
Typically,
Oh, you're gone.
I was going to say typically you
You
don't
are
get
gone.
away with that. Credit to the home plate umpire, James Purnell. He gave him a pretty good leash.
Yeah.
He took his time, so you have to wonder if he was saying something underneath his breath as he was walking back out onto the field.
Coach James Keller out to get his 2 cents in as well.
Yeah, he's got to take up for his player, I guess, but same
a little
time.
late.
Oh, man. See ya.
Well, clearly it's a frustrating night for Lake Erie.
Yeah, I understand that, but still.
One of their better pitchers got smacked around a bit. Their offense is through 5 innings being shut out. Not the way they wanted to start off their second half. But now they're also short their shortstop, who just got booted, and their 3-hole hitter.
Yeah.
And by the way, we do want to thank the folks out here at the Otters for partnering up with us tonight. The images you're seeing online are actually it's coming from their broadcast.
Yeah.
And we have put our audio over top.
Do we have
Carry
a bat
the
spin?
game live online at TriStateHomepage.com.
That's right, exactly. TriStateHomepage.com. Are they going to do a bat spin contest here pretty soon? That's always the best part of it.
You know,
an Otters game.
If not, I think you need to find somebody in lobby to make sure
Are you going to
that's
be in
added.
that one too? Right?
No, I'm not.
Potentially
Randall.
get you in the
I was
sumo
gonna
suit
see if
doing
you
it.
would do that. No, I've done my bit for the night. I think that's enough. Nobody wants to see me out there anymore. Well, they may want to see me bat spin and fall on my. I've already fallen. And let me tell you something. Those sumo suits, they don't have as much padding in the back of the head as they might need to have. I went down with a thud, to say the least. 7-0. We need more runs. I don't think that's a big enough lead. What do you think, fellas?
The way that Welch is pitching tonight, I think it's pretty safe right now.
Yeah, I think it is. I think we're doing fine.
Now, granted, you can see anything can happen.
You think they'll go the complete game with him? I mean, I guess it's all about the pitch count now, but still. I mean, he's pitching really well.
I think the Otters only have 1 complete game shutout.
Really?
this
Okay.
year. I think. I'd have to look at the stats.
Yeah, it's just such a rarity anymore. You used to see complete games a lot, in the majors and stuff like that. But
back in the day, guys like Three Fingers Brown and
yeah.
Butterscotch Jenkins,
Shutouts all over the place there.
they go 9 innings a night every time out, back-to-back nights.
Yeah. Did Cy Young ever win a Cy Young award? That's what I really want to know.
Ooh, that's a very good question.
And when he
That is
did,
a very good question.
was it actually called the Cy Young award?
Here's your own award, Cy.
Here you go. I guess he would have to win it, right?
So sorting through the mayhem as a result of the ejection, looks like Dale Burdick, has come into play third base. That shuffled the third baseman, Brody Wolford, over to second. Second baseman, Aaron Hill, now in shortstop.
Carlos Castro at the plate tonight, looking for, I believe, his first hit of the night. One of the few Otters who hasn't got in on the action tonight on the offensive end.
Yeah, everybody else.
He's 0 for 2 with a couple of Ks. So, Randall, to your point, he's not gotten in on the fun. But I'll tell you, to your point, he's not messing around up there at the plate. He's not going up to take pitches. He's
No.
up to do some
If
damage.
he connects right, he'll get in on the fun. He is without a doubt the hardest swinger on the team. He has one thing in his mind when he steps into the plate. And you look at him, 6'2", 235. He's got a little bit of weight to throw.
Yeah, he does.
Throwing behind those swings.
Yeah, you see that there. He's had 2 pretty good cuts, just not getting it straight.
He's down in the count, 0-2. Swinging a foul ball. Jake Repovich in for his second full inning of work. Worked a perfect 1, 2, 3, 4th. Castro again will be followed by Jack Meggs and then Rob Calabras, excuse me.
Oh, man.
Well, there's the old hat trick as Castro goes down swinging. That is strikeout number 3. Now 3 in a row, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, he's kind of turned it on a little bit. He was a little, like you said, effectively wild when he first went out there, but now he's getting the job done, didn't he? But like I said, we've got a Welch pitching well. We've got 7-run lead. Not too concerned.
They have not needed his bat tonight. That's
No.
a good thing. Again, if you're just tuning in, the Otters have a 7-0 lead here in the bottom of the 5th. A 5-run, 3-inning. Really the difference tonight.
Yeah.
They got to the Crushers early and often. First game back after the All-Star break.
And it was walks more than anything that really set the tone in that third inning. You think about the Otters, they had an RBI double, they had the solo home run, but
Right.
for the most part it's been just a couple of well-placed hits with the runners aboard more often than not due to free passes.
2 of the top 3 teams here in the Frontier League going at it tonight. Otters with the second best record in the league,
Boom.
but still only good enough for second place in their division.
0-1 to Meggs is fouled back. He's now down in the count 0-2.
This is a pretty long homestand, right? It goes well into next week. So at least to get a nice little run of games, maybe they can get back in it.
And maybe this is what Andy McCauley's been waiting for all season long. We talked about it earlier on. The Otters, even though they have been winning, they're having a great season, they really haven't put together a long winning streak yet this year. They've been winning their series, and that's the most important thing. But with a nice homestand, I know that McCauley would like to come out here and see his guys tear off 4 or 5 wins in a row. And
Oh, yeah.
Ball and 2 strikes again to the left-handed batting. Jack Meggs. Meggs on the season, a .252 batter. Again, he's got good speed, 13 stolen bases on the season. Should he be able to get aboard?
Let him steal. Well, would you steal 7-0? Probably not.
Not unless you want your next batter to wear it.
if you want to make the other dugout pretty angry, then go ahead.
Yeah, probably not. That's probably not going to happen. But at the same time, nice he's got some speed. We could use it later in the season, I hope.
But, these guys aren't going to go up there and take
He's got it.
Swings.
What?
2-2.
Oh, he beat it. He beat it.
Grounded to Hill.
Speed, man.
He's
That's
not
what it is.
able. See, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe
That was a good play by the second baseman. I will say that. But
He had to go a long way just to get a glove on the baseball.
He really did. That's good range, but speed kills a lot of those things.
That will
Having that speed.
break up a streak of 6 in a row set down by the relief pitcher and now bring up Evansville DH who again's had another profitable evening.
Yeah, he ripped that home run.
Home run and then an RBI single. He's driven home 2. He scored twice.
Let's see another dinger. That's what I want.
So Calabrese obviously has to be the early front runner for player of the game.
Yeah, I would think so.
Starts him
just
off.
Go ahead and start our own Eyewitness News player of the game.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, let's do that.
What are we going to give away, Randall? The sumo wrestling suit?
You can autograph it and give it
Oh, yeah. That would devalue it.
Gently used.
If we had a Randall Parmley bobblehead, we'd definitely
Yes,
do that.
that's what we definitely need. Oh, man. We're going to do Randall Parmley bobblehead night
we
coming
need to
up
get the
later
Otters to work on that.
Yeah,
Snap throw to first and back just in time is Meggs. Good pickoff move there shown by the left-hander, Repovich.
Feel like you. I don't know if he's going to go on this. I just don't see that. But that's all right. Keeps the pitcher thinking. If he's making him think, that's good. About something other than the batter.
Now the kick in the 0-1, just off the outside corner. We'll square the count at 1 ball, 1 strike.
Let's be honest, I'm not sure that a Randall Parmley bobblehead night would pack the stands out
Yes,
here.
it would. It'd be a bigger
Boston
crowd
Field.
than this, and that's hard to do. That would be well worth it.
Hunter Kellen. Otter center fielder waits to hit next. 1-1 pitch.
Oh.
High fastball cut on and missed. We'll push it to 1-2 on Calabrese.
He just needs to go the other way. First and third be nice.
Well, that is an awful big hole in the right side with second baseman Hill shaded up the middle, looking to turn 2.
Yeah, obviously they're
Runner at first. Reached on an infield single. Another snap throw. Again close, but back in with a head first dive.
Yeah,
He's worried about
He is.
about him taking off.
It's a pretty
know he's
solid
got
pickoff
speed.
move, though.
Yeah, it really is good. Keeping him fairly close.
Now, with that said, Meggs is out to the edge of the cutout again. And you wouldn't imagine he'd be running, but, Ron, you're right. He's certainly dividing attention here.
Mm-hmm.
Now the 1-2, it's upstairs.
Yeah, I think it's got him thinking. Look at that. That was way outside and high.
Well, and that may be the plan right now. Get in his head.
They're kind of dogging over there.
With his homer tonight, Rob now has 7 on the season, up to 18 RBIs.
All right, let's see
Chance
this.
to do some more damage with a 2-2 count. Otters have knocked 7 hits.
Oh, man.
I would imagine those 7 home runs has got him in with the league leaders now. Long was leading with 9 heading into the break.
Right.
Castro had 8, and he was in second place heading into the break. So if my math is correct, 7
It at
would
least
put
be
him in
tied,
third,
yeah.
tied for third at least.
Yeah.
Count
Let's
again.
make it a tie for second place after this at bat. That'd be nice.
Runners
There he goes.
going on the pitch, which is
Oh!
taken low. Snap
Got
throw
it.
to second.
Got it.
He is toast. Well,
That was an incredible throw by the catcher.
And
The Pies are stealing
props
with
there.
that was a
7-run lead.
That was a
Yeah.
called strike, by the way, so that's a strike him out, throw him out double play. The only thing worse than running with a 7-run lead is getting caught with a 7-run lead.
Yeah, no doubt.
So that caught stealing will end the 5th. Strikeout number 4 for Repovich. A 1-out single is erased. No runs, no hits, 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left. As we go to the 6th, Evansville still comfortably ahead, 7-0.
Hey, guys, I think I'll go down and eat
Well, starting pitcher Jake Welch is through 5 innings, and he has been staked to a 7-0 lead. It is a even numbered inning, however, so we'll see how Lady Luck fares with Jake. His only rough innings have been the 2nd and the 4th. He got him in the 5th with 2 men left as the first pitch is lined in the left. Here come the Crushers leadoff single, and that's I believe the 2nd straight inning we've seen first pitch swinging by this Crushers ball club, leading off with a base knock.
And you have to wonder how much of a leash that Welch has. He's pitched awfully well, but we're getting into the middle of the game now, and a rested bullpen. And you know that Andy McCauley's not going to want to let the Crushers get back into this one.
That was cleanup hitter Zach Racusin. He's been aboard all 3 times, a pair of singles, and he's been hit by a pitch. As the left-hander swinging on the first one, drives the ball into right. It's curling and down for a base hit in front of Meggs. So Cable, the switch-hitting designated hitter, will spark up a rally here. 2 on and nobody out. And that may
there is a little bit of action down there in the bullpen. Nobody up throwing yet, but there's a couple of guys up, and looks like they're starting to loosen up just a little bit, getting a little antsy.
A pair of singles. They've come on 2 pitches here in the 6th, and that brings right fielder Stephen Kraft to the plate. He has yet to put a ball in play, walking twice, stranded at 3rd in the 2nd, and left at first base in the 4th. First pitch, breaking ball, caught that corner. Did the right-hander Jake Welch, 0-1.
You'd think McCauley would give Welch a little bit of leeway. He's pitched off the well, got a big lead, but also you don't want to let things get out of control and let the Crushers get back into this with a big inning.
Absolutely not. And at this point, if you're Evansville, you're just looking for an out in any way. Doesn't matter if they are able to move up the runners. You can give up a run, maybe even 2, without it being that big of a deal. As quickly ahead in the count now is Welch, 0-2.
And again, don't forget, you can see all the highlights tonight. Jessica back in the studio. She'll have them roughly 9:45 and 10:20 tonight on Eyewitness News. Michael will have a story.
As here's a ground ball up the first base line. Throw to first just in time, getting Kraft. 1-3 on the putout. Welch pounces on it off the mound. Good play considering Kraft on the season. 13 stolen bases, so that tells you he's got some fleet feet. And he again moves up on the 1-3 putout, does Racusin and Cable. 2 runners now in scoring position. They're at 2nd and 3rd, 1 man gone for Jake Veith.
Michael's story about everything going on behind the scenes tonight to get the broadcast online at tristatehomepage.com. Kind of a behind the scenes look, pretty neat. Make sure you check that out.
Veith, the first baseman tonight, is struck out and hit a comebacker, handled by Jake Welch. Otters play the infield and outfield. They're back. They will concede that run for the out. Again, just
runs
looking
for outs now.
Absolutely. Welch works from the far right-hand side if you're facing him, or from his perspective, the far left-hand side of the pitcher's mound and rubber. Comes inside with a 1-0 pitch and gets the call. Took a little something off. Veith, I'm sure, not crazy about that. Now stands in with a 1-1 count. Catcher Brian De La Rosa waits to hit next. He's 1 for 2 on the night. 1-1 pitch outside. Rizzatello's been a busy man tonight. You've made a couple of references to him having to lunge to catch some wayward pitches.
Well, he has a pass ball also tonight, so he's been
That's true.
really busy out there. I don't want to remind you, John Stanley, Otters president, will be joining us here in the bottom half of the inning. We're going to talk about the season so far.
2-1 stays high, and now it's gone 3-1, and Jake here flirting with danger. 1 pitch away from loading the bases. Still nobody up down the right field line, but I would imagine that would change quickly should Veith reach.
Yeah, I'm going to bet if he gets on.
Let's see if Jake's able to bear down here. Gets a swinging foul ball to run it back full, 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Again, there's 2 Lake Erie Crushers aboard. They came on a pair of singles to start the frame.
Again, Lake Erie 25 and 23 on the season. Good enough for first place in the East Division. The Otters are 28 and 22, second best record in the league, but
3-2 pitch is cut on and missed, and that is a big strikeout for Jake Welch. By the way, Randall, that puts him into double digits. That's 10 strikeouts now on the evening.
he's pitching awfully well. As mentioned, the Otters' second best record in the league. Well, second best record in the West Division as well. 28 and 22, 6 games behind Florence. He's threatening to pull away from everybody. Already 35 wins on the year.
The Freedom are fresh off of losing 2 of 3 to this very same Lake Erie ball club. Lake Erie win and took 2 of 3 from Florence at the Freedom's ballpark. They're near Cincinnati.
Right off I-75, very nice park.
First pitch was flirting with the outside corner, but could not find it, says home plate umpire James Purnell. Calls a ball to put De La Rosa in the driver's seat. Up ball, 1 ball, no strike in the count. 9th place hitter Brody Wofford would be next should the inning continue. Here's a ground ball hit to the left side. Backhanded by the shortstop. Long throw across. He got him. As that will snuff out the rally 6-3. Very nice play by J.J. Gould. Had one get under him earlier in the night, but he was not going to be denied there. And Randall, I'm sure you're like me, a pretty impressive night by Jake Welch. Not only the 10 strikeouts, but when he's needed to bear down and make a big pitch, he's done just that.
Got exactly what he wanted to get. A strikeout and a ground ball to get him out of the inning. Maybe keeps him in the game for at least one more. When you're throwing a shutout at this point in time, why not keep him out there, running back out, and see what he's got for at least one more inning?
That is true.
Save that bullpen as much as you can.
In that inning, no runs were scored on 2 hits, no errors, 2 men were left. Otters have out-hit them on the night 7-4, but in the department that counts the most, they're leading 7-0. Again, certainly want to thank you for joining us, Mark Maestner and Randall Parmley, on a beautiful night in Evansville as the Otters host this Lake Erie Crushers Ball Club. And again, these are 2 teams, 2 of the best in the Frontier League. And so far tonight, we've been treated to a good one. Taking a look at some scores around the league, they're in the 7th in Schaumburg, and it's the Washington Wild Things 5, Schaumburg 4. Meanwhile, in Windy City, they're squared at 2. Bottom 6, River City and Windy City. Southern Illinois currently shutting out Joliet 5-0. That game is at Rent One Park in Southern Illinois, bottom 5. And meanwhile, it is the Freedom of Florence. They lead Gateway 4-2, bottom 5.
Thought we were going to see a little action in the bullpen, but I think it was just a couple of relief pitchers up stretching their legs.
Certainly, I'm sure Jake Welch, his pitch count's got to be starting to trend upward anytime you've struck out 10 guys on the night. And a few walks, few hits, that pitch count's starting to move up. But to your point, Randall, we've yet to see the bullpen stir.
Otters President John Stanley with us now. John, pretty good outing
Randall?
for you guys tonight.
So far, when you have a big crowd like that, it's a lot more fun to get ahead by a large amount than it is to get behind at the start. And our guy, Jake Welch, has pitched really well tonight. Hope he can keep going, but I feel good about the way it's going. I think everyone's enjoying themselves.
This is the biggest crowd you guys have had?
Biggest crowd of the year. I think we'll have some more. We got some great events coming up. And we've had a couple that have been 3,000 plus, but I think this would be the largest one.
Tell us about some of the events you guys have coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, it's exciting. We'll start tomorrow night. We have Superheroes Night, and all the young guys. We had Princess last week, and there are a lot of young ladies dressed up. And tomorrow,
Are you
I think
dressing up as a superhero tomorrow?
You might just have to come to the ballpark tomorrow to find out.
You mean I'm not a superhero now? Okay. Yeah. No, I would have to probably look for something, but Superman cape. But we're in. I love it when it's a beautiful night and a big crowd. And everybody worked really hard on having the Habitat night be successful. The Habitat people are wonderful to deal with, and our owner Bill Bussing has been very involved in that organization, and there's a hit for us.
1-0 pitch to Hunter Collins, lined into left center field. That's a good start to the Otters' 6th as Collins aboard, and that now will bring J.J. Gould to the plate, who laced a 2-run scoring single down the left field line in his last at bat.
You mentioned tonight been a success. Big crowd, big lead for the Otters. Looks pretty good right now.
It's really good right now. And I'm kind of talking about feeling like superheroes. We had a chance to go up and play the Can-Am League, our all-star team.
Yeah, how about
and
that
we had
boy?
4 guys on our team, and they all got to play, and they all did pretty well, and we won the game. The Frontier League did.
Did you make the trip?
I did, yes. And
Now, that was a unique format, if I'm not mistaken, especially in the home run derby as well. There were some ex-Major League players associated, correct?
yeah, I had my former Major League player. I had my picture taken with Mookie Wilson. Do you remember him from the New York
Mookie.
Mets? Yeah.
Jesse Barfield, I believe I saw
Yes,
was up there.
yes.
that's
So
pretty
they had a lot of different things, and the rock the facility in New York, Rockland, was really nice. You look out there, it was like if you've ever been to the Denver Stadium, Coors Field in Denver, you look out over the mountains and the sun setting. They had a mini version of that up there. It was really pretty. The sun sets in the mountains behind left field, so it was a really nice night there as well.
1-1 pitch to Gould is sprayed foul down the right field line. That'll move it to 1-2.
I want you to talk a little bit about your manager that you guys have out there. I mean,
Well,
Mark and I were talking earlier. It seemed like after Greg Jelks left in that championship season, the team just kind of floated aimlessly and not really a direction until Andy took over, and it's been nothing but onward and upward since Andy took over 10 years ago.
Yes, and I think there are.
That was a nice play.
That was a 1-2 pitch was softly lined to first, where Veith makes a diving catch in foul territory. Gould is denied his second hit of the night.
Randall, there would be a lot of reasons for that, but Andy has a lot of contacts, and he has been able to take a lot of our players and get them advanced to an affiliated level. So the young players know that he can develop them and give them a chance to do what they want to do, and that is to advance in their career. So it's made recruiting better. We've worked a lot on the facilities, and Andy's personality and the fact that we're winning again is appealing to a lot of people. So it just kind of builds on itself, and this has been the result.
How tough is it to keep a contending team on the field when there's such a huge turnover in roster, players constantly signing with affiliated organizations?
Yes, and I will have one day when my stomach wants to turn when we lose our number one pitching, and then I'll have my stomach turn the other way when the baseball sends us a check for buying their contract. So it can go both ways, but Andy has a lot of contacts, and everybody deals with it, so we make the adjustments. We've lost. This is the biggest number we've ever had. We've had 5 players so far this year signed with affiliated baseball,
and if I recall,
and still have 4 All-Stars on top of it.
You had 3 in a span of the 18th, 22nd, and 22nd. So 3 in a span of 5 days. I mean, talk about a gut punch.
Yeah, and 2 of some of our top pitchers to go along with it, which is really painful because you can see from Major League Baseball, everybody could use pitching these days.
And it has to be tough in the Frontier League because obviously these guys out here, their goal is to get to the next level. But the rules are a little different in the Frontier League than they are in the majors and in other leagues where there's an age limit. And so you can't sign a guy for a 4 or 5 year deal and where he likes Evansville and wants to stay at home. I mean, he can only be here for a certain amount of years.
Yes, that's true. And the age out now in the Frontier League is 26. So it's but a lot of times we view the Frontier League as sort of a development year, a development league to players that still can and will advance, which is why we're having so many players sign into affiliated baseball. And if they're really good, that happens, and those that become crowd favorites can stay around because they start younger. So while they don't get long-term contracts, they're certainly welcome to come back, and we have several that have been here for more than 1 year.
Is it normal to sign a player for more than 1 year?
No, they're all on year-to-year contracts because of the volatility of whether they're going to be signed into affiliated baseball or not. But they sign annual contracts, and but at the end of the year, they pretty well know we would like to have you back, and they're affiliated with our team until they go somewhere else. In that time, if we've released them and not renewed a contract for them.
Mark and I were talking about the host family system earlier.
Well, it's
Explain
great.
how that works.
Well, anyone that would be interested in hosting an Otter, can do so. And, well, that takes care of that inning. Do you want to go ahead and close that inning out? Or?
Hey,
Okay.
We're just going.
So I would, we have 20-plus families that host the Otters, and you get discounted, you get your tickets and you get food. But I think the most important thing is you can develop lifelong relationships. And I still have those host families say, we loved having this young man, and they stay in contact for years on end. It's just like anything else. You meet a young person and you spend time with them like a summer, and you've developed a bond, and it goes both ways. And the process by which we do that has just been good for everybody.
Does every player stay with the host family?
Every player, we try to get placed with the host family. Because we have some change so much that sometimes if somebody loses one, they have to come in. They may stay in an apartment or a hotel for a while, but for the most part, we like for them to be able to have, some feeling of home and somebody that they know and can be around, because they're somewhere where they're not, and they're playing with people they did not know before. So it just helps to sort of have a home base, and the host families certainly do that.
Is that common throughout the Frontier League, or is that?
Yeah, very common through the Frontier League. It's not true in all leagues. I can't speak for sure, but I don't believe like in the hockey league that they do host families. So it's I don't believe it's even unique to the Frontier League. We do it. Not all leagues do it. And in its work, we have Sally Grease, who's been a big part of our program. She works at USI for a job, and she has done a wonderful job of coordinating the families and getting the renewals and getting the personalities matched. There are a lot of things that go into making it work out well.
I think it is unique here in this area because I don't believe that the other Thunderbolts, I don't believe that they utilize. I
don't think they can, but I don't know. It's because they don't want to. I think it's their league rule more than their desire as a team. So I've spent my whole time up here, and I'm looking down the press box, and you've heard the nice voice of Zane Klotfelter down there, and he's been our PA guy for a long time and likes to
at the station.
He's one of your favorites.
One of our
really?
favorites.
Why would that be?
That's a very good question.
Okay,
and I don't have a good answer for that.
Okay. So. Well, we're very pleased to have that. I think a lot of people comment and appreciate Zane's PA announcing skills to our crowd, and so do I.
I believe it was last summer, maybe 2 summers ago, we did a feature on Zane and his press box antics.
Well, I think that's well deserved.
And earlier this year, or it may have been last year, we did a story on his IU archives.
Yeah.
Which was a very unique story.
Well, when we're sitting up in the press box over the course of the summer, we certainly hear a lot of IU stories.
1-2 pitch is chop foul to Castro.
Or views on IU, I would say that as well.
IU here in the Tri-State. There is no doubt about that.
Well, Jake Welch has stayed back out, Randall. He's completed 6. Now into the 7th inning. He's got 9-1-2 to navigate for the Crushers, starting off with Brady Wofford. Brady tonight's 0 for 2. He's struck out and flown out. He's ahead in the count 1-2, already with 10 strikeouts. Do I hear 11? Yes, sir.
Bring him up.
So, Randall, we're still enjoying every day of the baseball. I come to a lot of the games, but one thing I like when the fall comes around is watching your football show.
Thank you very much.
At the end of the high school Friday nights, and
Opening night,
it's enjoyable.
August 23rd,
you
right
got that
around the
one.
corner.
Yeah, I know.
Get your popcorn ready.
It's a lot of fun, and our season starts to wind down. I think it's our season at 96 games. The regular season ends at Labor Day, and then playoffs if we're fortunate enough to get in.
Yeah, I can remember that right around the time the football season starts is right around the time the Frontier League playoffs start.
Yeah, it's exciting. You start to get a little bit cooler weather, and it's playoff time and football time. It's nice.
It's a juggling act at the station, but it's one that's pretty fun when we have to try to make sure that we get football and Otters playoff games.
Yes.
At the same time.
What's been great that the company has been able to partner on the Habitat Night as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's been great partners for us to work with throughout the whole effort on this.
Whose idea was that, John, to partner up with Habitat? I mean, obviously you guys are celebrating your 25th anniversary, and Habitat for Humanity does so much with the community. I mean, that just seems like a natural partnership right there.
Well, we wanted to, Mr. Bussing primarily wanted to make a statement, and he has been actively involved in Habitat over the years. And I had happened to be at an Aces game when they had the choir come, and I thought that's really cool. I wonder if there's any chance to partner with that. And one thing led to another in the discussions, and they had said that WHT had been a marketing partner for them on a lot of different occasions, and we all met and thought it was a great idea, and it just sort of came together from there.
Well, we have actually been talking about carrying an Otters broadcast online for quite some time, and the opportunity came around, and appreciate you guys giving us the chance to jump on board. And
well, we're very happy you're here.
Tonight.
I've been sending notes to my friends saying, watch the stream, because I'm down there live and I can't do it. Or I don't know how to anyway. So,
of course, your guys' production of the live stream, very good. I watch it a lot of times at the station.
Davidson's going to reach and now take second as a bouncing ball hit up the middle. Cronin was too hot for him. The backhand, it ran up his arm and went into short right field. Ball kind of died out there, and then Davison took the extra base, and the whole at-bat was able to continue because on a two-strike pitch, fly ball to long in foul territory, he was not able to make the squeeze.
That would have been the first out. I was trying to think out if they had a guy on base, but talking to you, it was a foul ball, so he's the first guy on then, right? Yep. One out, one on.
Welch is going to have a little bit of a leash to work with, but we are starting to get deep into the game.
Yeah, and we're looking on there, and that's the first time you always had the little glitches that we have not had that. The electricity on that upper band of lights went out, so it's kind of a little tough to follow.
On the scoreboard?
Yes, but we are in the top of the seventh right now. Is that right? Correct.
We are in the top of the seventh. I believe that's a hit by pitch.
Aaron Hill just got drilled. Second hit batsman of the night for Welch. The first one was a sock skimmer.
And that would
not
be enough
this one. This was between the numbers.
Have our bullpen moving.
Well, we've seen Welch do a masterful job so far tonight of navigating the trouble, but as we approach the latter parts of the game.
Andy McCauley making his way out to the mound just to buy a little bit of time. Of course, pitcher in the bullpen to get up and going.
Looks like that's
We're asking a lot of Welch to go. He's pitched a really good game tonight, and normally will not get much deeper into a game than this, either on pitch count or, for that matter, as well as he's pitched.
Randall, now that I think about it, the starting pitcher tonight, Welch, went 8 innings in his last start against this ball club, so that's 14 consecutive scoreless innings he's rolling right now.
Erie's number.
However, 2 on, 1 out after the ground ball to the second baseman that turned into the double, followed by a hit batter. And here's where that ejection kind of looms large. Instead of their third place hitter, shortstop Emmanuel, now we've got a first
Take
pitch
a double play
strike
to move
taking
the game along.
Dale Burdick. The right-hander digs in. Again, Marrero was ejected back in the 5th. Top of the 7th. Otters with a 7-0 lead, but 2 aboard for Lake Erie, and the count now to 1-1.
Did the guy that got kicked out challenge a ball strike count?
That's what the appearance was.
Slammed his helmet down, threw the bat, and the home plate umpire took his time before he threw him out. I'm wondering as he was walking away if he might have muttered something underneath his breath because it was a delayed ejection.
Well, you know, the home plate umpire, I've noticed, does have a little bit of a delayed strike call as well, so maybe he's a little short or a little long in the fuse, I guess. He's going to let you go a little bit. Count to 1-2. Welch trying to, again, dance around the danger, and he will get a swing and a miss for his 12th strikeout on the evening.
Welch has pitched a dandy tonight.
So that brings us to the cleanup spot. So far, the Otters have yet to get him out.
And here comes Andy McCauley back out to the mound, and that will be a pitching change. Welch's night is over.
Well,
he'll leave in the 7th with 2 on and having dealt a masterpiece tonight.
Certainly a great night at the office for Jake, who will go 6 2/3 innings. He is responsible for those runners at first and second. He leaves with no current runs allowed. 5 hits, 2 walks. He also hit a couple batters, and I've got him down for 12 punch-outs on the night.
Excellent night. And that's exactly what you want in the first game of a 3-game series. Save that bullpen as much as you can.
So again, Drew Byer will be the man to come in and try and put out this 7th inning fire. We'll take a moment and review Byer's numbers on the season.
John, we were talking earlier tonight when we had Ron in just about the amount of talent, baseball talent that's come out of the tri-state playing in the majors. I want to ask you about Kyle Freeland. Of course, you're the former athletic director for the Aces, and Freeland, of course, the Aces star who's now with the Rockies. What does, especially last year when he finished 4th in the Cy Young voting, what is his performance in the majors? What does that mean for recruiting for West Carroll and the Aces?
Well, I think it's a lot, and you couldn't ask for a better representative. I was there when Kyle went to the University of Evansville, and he's a very humble young man and very hard worker. So happy to see him have the success. But when you're able to go to a mid-major school like the University of Evansville and go to the major leagues, it just speaks to when a recruit is looking at Evansville, they have a way to be able to be recognized in a conference like the Missouri Valley, which actually has good teams right now. Dallas Baptist, Missouri State, and so on. So we play in a good conference, and you compete and you do well. It gives you a chance, and so it's not surprising to see that happen.
Have you had a chance to watch Kyle much this year? He's obviously, I know you've kept up with him and the struggles that he had, and to me, it's just really. It's hard to imagine a guy who was so dominant last year. He's lost himself so far this year.
And you know, Randall, you've seen a lot of baseball. It can happen, and sometimes you'll just send a player down there, let them recover a little bit, and they can come back and be what they've always been. A lot of pressure when you've had a good year to try to establish yourself over a longer period of time. You're pitching in a facility that really isn't ideal for a pitcher to be in. But I'm sure I know that Kyle likes it because he's from there. It's like he got to go play in his hometown. He's from Denver, Colorado. So hopefully he'll be able to steady the ship. And I believe that if not, that he's got a future at other places. And I've seen him pitch so much that I believe that he'll be able to get stabilized and get going again.
He was very good at Coors Field last year. I know his earned run average was under 3, and he just had. There's no other way to put it. He just had gotten rocked many times. Yeah. But I know his last outing in AAA, with 7 innings, gave up 1 run.
Yeah, that's what. Just all of a sudden it can turn on a dime.
He'll get a chance.
It's interesting.
Tomorrow, I think he's back in Colorado tomorrow to be facing the Reds first start back.
Well, that's what. Being a Cardinal fan, I'd be all for him tomorrow against the Reds. But yeah, so. I happened to see the catcher, Kyle Pollock, on that team, was on the Washington Wild Things in the Frontier League. He was on the All-Star team last year, and I saw him there and had a chance to catch up with him a little bit, too. He was one of the better players in the Frontier League
the Frontier League does have a history of putting players in the major leagues.
First pitch swinging is Rakusin, and that'll be a pop-up to center to end the frame. One pitch. That's all it took for 1 out for Drew Byer. He puts out the fire in the 7th, and we are now through 6.5 innings. It's time to stretch, Evansville. Your Otters are out in front, now by 7.
It's one of my favorite times, the 7th inning stretch and Sweet Caroline and Take Me Up to the Ballpark. Here's the choir, too, the Habitat choir doing it. They are.
Let's keep the stream up, and I'm sure they can hear on the nets, and let's just listen to the choir then.
Here we go. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever come back and will root for the Otters. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Nicely done. Let's get some more runs.
You can call Zane Clodfelter Mr. Versatility. Well done, Zane.
Way, in my opinion, I mean, I just love baseball, period. But I've got 3 young boys. No better place to bring, your family out for a great evening of entertainment.
When you talk about the age and the facility, it being such a great place to watch it, rarely does a day or a week go past that we don't have people from out of town come and say, we just wanted to see what Bosse Field looks like and take pictures and want to be on the field and the like. So we enjoy that as well.
I have heard that story from other folks in the front office, not from you. That it's a daily occurrence. People come by and they just want to see Bosse Field. They've heard about it. They've seen it in a league of their own.
All-star Ryan Long looking to get the 7th inning started for the Otters on a good note. Ryan so far tonight's 0 for 1 with a pair of strikeouts. He walked back in the third and came around to score the game's 3rd run. Still in the ballgame is Jake Repovich, and I'll tell you what, for Lake Erie, he has been their hero of the night on an evening in which it looked like their bullpen was going to be taxed to the max. He came in, and so far he came in the 4th inning, has thrown 2 1/3 scoreless.
He has done exactly what Lake Erie wanted him to do, eat up innings and keep the Otters off the board.
Let's see if Ryan's able to change that, though. Lefty on lefty matchup here. 1-1 fastball, tried to stop his swing, but he could not, and Ryan's now down in the count 1-2.
And how about this on a night when a couple of the Otters' biggest bats have been quiet? They've still been able to put 7 runs on the board.
This is why you all are professional announcers, and I'm not, because I would be a homer talking about. What do you mean this guy's shut the door on us?
1-2 pitch to Long. Was in on his kitchen and will result in a pop-up to first. Veith puts that away for the first out here in the 7th.
Well, let's make no mistake, John. We're supposed to be impartial, but we may lean one way.
I know, but I'm afraid that if I were doing it, I'd be leaning more than a little bit. So.
I mean, we're hometown broadcasters. You got to root for your hometown team, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, for the hometown team, that's Mike Rizzatello to the plate. Mike had himself a great start to this contest, singling and doubling at his first 2 at-bats. He's driven home 3, 2 for 3 on the night. He scored a run, was caught looking in his last at-bat. His only time he has danced with Repovich tonight. That came on a 1-2 pitch. Up hacking early is Mike. Carlos Castro, who's got he's had the roughest night for the Otters so far, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. He'll get an opportunity for a 4th AB and see if he can't knock out a base hit. As we play in the 7th, Evansville, they lead in the hit column 8-5, but they lead in the run category. They're up a touchdown, folks, 7-0.
First game of a 3-game weekend series. And we're getting it started off with a win of exactly what Andy McCauley wants. First game back after the All-Star break.
Counts to 1-2. Pitcher has his sign, brings home the offering, which will bounce. Repovich, a 6'1", 200-pounder. He was born in June of 1996.
We were proud at the All-Star game against the Can-Am League to look out there and see Carlos Castro, Ryan Long, and Rob Calabrese all on the field at the same time representing our team in 3 of the 8 positions with 10 league teams available. So we had our share of action when we were up there.
It was a new format this year. No longer was it the East versus West in the Frontier League. It was the Frontier League against the Can-Am League also.
It was a thrill to do that. The Can-Am League has 6 teams, and they are in Canada, Quebec, Ottawa, and New York, just outside of New York City, and a couple teams in New Jersey. So it's a nice league with a nice reputation, and they don't have an age cap like the Frontier League is. So we were talking about that a little bit earlier. And so they were a little bit older than we were, and I think we may have been underdogs. But when we watched them play, there was not much question about which team looked better that night.
3-2 pitches waved on by Rizzatello. He was not able to put bat on ball on the change of pace, and that's now 2 men gone in the 7th for Carlos Castro, who we just talked about. And, John, that's neat. Not only were the guys able to experience the All-Star game together, the trip together, everything that goes into that, but to be able to be on the field at the same time. I'm sure, to your point, that was very gratifying to look out and see the hard work not only of the ball players on the field, but everybody behind the scenes that goes into building these teams.
You know, like you're talking about coming out with your kids to the game and stuff like that. When you're, that one's gone. That is gone.
Long home run. Carlos was flirting with that brick wall in left field. What I like the most about that is the left fielder, Rasmussen, he didn't even move. He Barry Bonds that ball out in left field. Carlos says, you know what, I'm having a rough night 0 for 3. Let me just go ahead and take care of that.
You know, that ball went over the second row of advertising. I'm not for sure that didn't go over the brick. Now, we said earlier, if he connects on one with a swing, it will go a long, long way.
Otters have been held off the scorebook the last 3 innings, and Carlos took care of that emphatically with his 9th home run of the season. Randall, that moves him now into a tie for first place
with Ryan Long.
Teammate Ryan Long.
We're just commenting on Carlos Castro. Last year, Carlos had some physical ills, and then he got healthy, and then right away he got hurt again when it went on a play at first base, and so was out a lot of the last season. And we chose to, Andy did, to keep him around and through that year and for this year too. And you couldn't find any player that's more appreciative of us giving him the chance when he was injured, when a lot of times you would just cut somebody like that. And so we're being rewarded for our patience, and it's nice to see a player kind of be so appreciative of his coach, management, and ownership in allowing him to stay around and play.
And I'm not sure I've seen many home runs longer than the one that he just hit.
I don't know about that either.
I mean, it's hard to tell from where we were at, but it really looked like it went over the second row of advertising.
Well, John, you were talking about what the opportunity that Andy afforded him with last season. You said, Andy has a lot of connections. He's able to, he's got a reputation for being able to take guys to the next level. What you just said, though, I think that's going to go around the league as well. I mean, people know that this is a manager that you want to come play for. And, again, what a luxury that Evansville has with the man running the show for the Otters, on the field at least.
Right, and ever since I've known him.
As the 2-1 pitch will be grounded to the second baseman, who throws out Jack Meggs, and that'll put away the 7th as we now head to the 8th. Otters are up by that same number, 8-0.
There was an error in filing the paperwork, and the Otters had to forfeit 10 games. And this happened late in the year, which
that we could have won
Yep.
to get in, but which speaks to how good the team was that year.
Yeah, that says a lot about the team and Andy that after that you have to forfeit 10 games with just a handful left, and then they didn't fold shop. They still fought, and I believe it came down to the last day of the season.
I believe that's correct. I think you recall that well.
I've been here a while, John. I've been in Evansville a while. I've seen a lot of things now.
John Cable starting us off in the top of the 8th, as Drew Byer will look to work his first full inning. He came in, if you might recall, in the 7th and threw exactly one pitch to get the Otters out of the 7th. Swing and a miss on the overhand curveball will square the count now at 1-1.
I believe my first year was in 2006 when the Otters won the Frontier League championship. Got into the playoffs that year with a losing record, and then got hot in the playoffs, and Greg Jelks and Steve Tasler won the championship that year.
Swing and a miss.
And that's the way it can happen. We have two divisions, and it's the winner of each division, and then the next two teams are wild card teams with the next records. And this year, it's almost just the opposite. I think Lake Erie may even be in first, and they're right at 500. If you had a playoff, it would be them and then three teams from the West as it stands now.
I believe Lake Erie entering tonight was 2 games over 500. They're in first place in their division.
First pitch to Kraft is rolled foul.
I'm thinking that it wasn't a little bit earlier that there may have even been a team that was in first with a losing record that wasn't going to happen, but it wasn't long ago. Zane, I'm looking at you, and I'm talking on the stream. But would you comment? Do you remember? Did they have a losing record? Someone did.
I know the Evansville Otters in 2006 had a losing record and made the playoffs.
That's what Randall was just saying too. So
earlier this year had an under 500 record.
That's what I
1-1
believe.
pitch in for a strike, as Byer now up in the count 1-2.
And I really like that playoff format in the Frontier League. I like
I
how
do
they
too.
take the top 2 teams in each division, and then the next 2 teams with the best records.
1-2 pitch is cued off the end of the bat, foul.
I'd much rather have it like that than just the top 2 teams in each division. Because last year in the division, it came down to the last game of the last day of the season, and I believe they were 3 teams fighting for that last playoff spot like that.
From the business standpoint, I remember last year it was us. We didn't know until the last day, and we found out at the end of that night that we were going to play and that we were the home team, the first 2 and then the road, and it was Labor Day weekend, and the next day was Labor Day, and to try to go, say, Sunday night at 6, we made the playoffs. How do we get people there on Tuesday night when Monday is Labor Day? It was quite the challenge to create the awareness that we were playing and then to get notification out to build a crowd. But we wound up with our good, loyal fans coming, and it was fun.
Of course, just a few years off of winning the league championship.
2-2 pitch is lifted, foul, giving chase is the Otters' first baseman and right fielder, but neither will be able to track it down. Count stays 2-2.
Back in 2016, the Otters won it all. What was that ride like in the postseason?
Exciting. I wasn't here doing it at that time, but I was at the games.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it wound up being 1-0 in the final game. I was with the team more in an assistant advisory at times, so it was thrilling. Winning is a thrill.
Byer sets 2-2 pitch is wrapped to short and under the glove of Gould. And JJ was actually shaded pretty far to the third base side. That's one of those instances where you've got analytics that tell you the guy's a pull hitter. You take about 3 steps to the right and set up. However, if he's standing where he is now in standard shortstop position, that's an easy play. That's an easy 6-3 ground out. But that's one of those things more often than not. When you shift a guy, you do so for a good reason, but that's one where it came back to burn the Otters a bit here in the 8th, although obviously up 8-0. They're still feeling pretty good about their shot tonight.
All that does is set up the double play.
You got it. Set him up, knock him over. As that brings up first baseman Jake Veith.
John, I see you looking at your watch. I'm not telling you to get out of here, but if you've got something else you need to do, you feel free, or if you want to hang out, that's fine with us too.
We were just talking. What I looked at my watch for was just to see how long the game had lasted, because
it's pretty quick.
It's pretty quick. It's been pretty quick for us. Yes, and
especially when you consider there's 8 on the board.
The length of the game is dependent a lot about whether you're a hitting team or a pitching team. And a couple years ago, we had our games averaged 30 minutes longer than any other team in the Frontier League. They keep those statistics because we could just hit the ball. And we didn't pitch quite as well. So all our games were high scoring and they lasted forever. So, and which is a good thing because people like to stay around and eat food as the night goes along too.
And I'm sure that's fine with you too. Keep the sessions open
exactly
as long as possible.
Jake Veith, batter at the plate currently. 0 for 3 on the night. He's had a pair of strikeouts. He's also hit a comebacker. Down in the count 1-2. Well, now make it 1-3. He's gone on some high cheese. Not able to catch up to that as Byers got his second strikeout of the night.
He has done a good job coming out of the bullpen.
Well, he's faced 4 batters and retired 3 of them. The only one he didn't get was on an infield single where, again, shortstop playing over a few steps made a difference. As that brings up catcher Brian De La Rosa. He's singled through the left side. Grounded to short and also struck out. So he's put 2 balls in play on the left side. First pitch misses low and away.
If the Otters can close this one out, they have to feel good about themselves. First game out of the All-Star break. You put at least 8 runs on the board.
There's a beauty of a breaking ball. Snaps in to even the count at 1-1. Randall, we again tease this as, I'm thinking it's going to be a 3-2 contest, 2-1 contest, and Evansville goes and drops a 7. Yeah, 7 in the first 3 innings, 8 overall. And not really a surprise to see that Jake Welch and company were able to stymie this offense. Lake Erie, again, they're kind of middle to lower part of the pack when it comes to offense, as the 1-1 pitch is going to make it off the top of the roof.
Well, this is a great way to start the second half of the season. And as we talked about, Otters have had a really good first half. Didn't close out the first half maybe quite as strong as they had wanted to. But it's a great way to start the second half. And as we were talking about earlier on tonight, the beginning of the homestand, the last homestand before the break, we came out and talked to Andy.
There's your ground ball to third. They'll go to second for the lead out, and that will be a nice 5-4 put out to retire the side here in the 8th. We're through 7.5. No runs a hit, no errors, 1 left. Otters still comfortably in front by that 8-0 score.
So I think I will, before I start to believe that I'm like a good announcer here, I think I will go back and allow you professionals to continue to finish up the game. But I appreciate you letting me have an inning to visit with you and everything, and enjoy talking to you. And it's been really fun having you here tonight, and hope we can do it again sometime.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Appreciate all the help, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. That's Otters President John Stanley, former Aces Athletic Director. Big thanks to the Otters for letting us come out here and hang out with them tonight.
It turns out we've been treated to a pretty good ball game.
Yeah, who knows? If they end up winning 8-0, they may have us back. They may want more.
What are y'all doing next weekend?
Streamed online. But as I was saying, Andy had told us, I believe that the team had just won 7 of 10, 8 of 10, something like that. It's one of the final homestands before the first half of the season, and we were talking to him about the way the team had been playing, and he said, we're right exactly where I want to be. I don't care if we're in first place at this point in time. At the midway point, I just want to be near the top, playing pretty good baseball. I want to be hanging around. And once late July, August rolls around, I want us to get hot then make a run. Well, this team's playing awfully well tonight.
They are. They're certainly making a statement as they come out of the gates here in the second half. And they'll look to put up some crooked numbers on the scoreboard here in the 8th against Jake Repovich, as the Otters will have the bottom third of their order. 7, 8, 9 due up as we go to the home half of the 8th. Crowds thinned out a bit, but I'll tell you what, again, they were treated to a early offensive explosion here at Bosse Field. Starting things off will be designated hitter Rob Calabres. Calabres has homered, singled, and struck out. He bats from the right side. Wears number 25.
He just ran off his numbers. He's had a good night tonight.
Staten Island is where he calls home. So he got to, as an all-star, got to go close to home with that Can-Am tilt.
And by our numbers, he's now third place in the league after his home run tonight.
Absolutely.
7 on the season.
We've seen 2 of them tonight, and they've both been no doubters. And if I'm not mistaken, they were both on the first pitch.
And I'm telling you,
you're gonna go look. You're gonna go look for that ball tonight. After
Castro's is a blast.
All right, Rob. The challenge is clearly laid in front of you. See if you can match Carlos here. As the fastball misses up and away. Otters again, they're hanging on to a 1-game lead in their current race. They trail the Florence Freedom by 6. They've got 2 teams nipping on their heels for that second spot. But again, they're off to a great start against the top team from the East. As the 1-1 pitch will miss down low, now 2-1.
And again, if you are just joining us, you want to see any of the early highlights from tonight, Michael and Jessica will have a full recap from everything that's going on at Bosse Field tonight on Eyewitness News at 9 and 10.
Catcher slides to the inside part of the plate. 2-1 pitch misses outside. Missed his target badly that time, did Repovich, and he's in danger of allowing the first man to reach in the inning. Something he's done once so far tonight in his 3 1/3 innings of work.
And he's done a good job for the Crushers. We
Very
talked about
much
that
so.
earlier. He has stopped the bleeding. He's eaten up some innings.
Well, not sure how the rest of the series is going to go, obviously. We've got Game 2 and Game 3 over the next couple of days. But should Lake Erie manage to win a game or even 2 games out of this series, I think this is the reason why when you look at what this man has done tonight for their bullpen again.
Well, if you get into the bullpen early in the first game of the series, that's just trouble for the rest of the weekend.
Payoff pitch is lined foul. We'll do it again. As Calabrese trying to get aboard for the 3rd time tonight.
And it's a little bit of the opposite of what Andy had told us, or told you, about what the game plan was they thought he could get to their bullpen.
He did. But I think Andy will take being up 8-0.
I'm sure he will. They got to the starter instead of the bullpen.
And again, the wind, now the 3-2 pitch, lifted. That one should stay in play. The second baseman drifts out. In comes the right fielder, Kraft. It'll be the second baseman making the catch. With the scrambling that's ensued from the ejection, I believe that's Burdick making the catch out there in right. Nope, check that. Burdick's in at third. So there was lots of moving around. That was Wofford making the catch. As Hunter Cullen, the Otters' 8th place hitting center fielder, will stand in. He's struck out, walked, and hit a humpback liner into left field for a base knock. He's 1 out of 2 for the evening. So looking up and down the lineup, just about everybody's been in on the action. Everybody's been on at least once for Evansville. They've had 8 runs scored tonight on 9 hits as the first pitch is fouled back.
One of the glaring omissions, I guess you could say, from the offensive production tonight would be the all-star Ryan Long, but I'm sure he'll take it.
And even Ryan kicked in a walk and a run scored, so even though he's 0 for 3, he has
contributed with the run.
Well, Randall, we talked earlier in the night about some of the teams turning the attention to football for a moment, about some teams that may surprise us. You pegged Mater Dei as one. Madisonville was another one. What's some of the venues that here tri-state-wise that are some of your favorites to go and see a game at firsthand?
Well, you have to start with the Wrights Bowl. I mean, that's that's the gimme. That's the obvious one. It doesn't get any better than that. Week 9, Wrights, Mater Dei, the place is packed. I mean, that's what high school football
Yes, sir.
is supposed to be. It's an amazing venue, and and it's an amazing experience when both those teams are playing really well.
1-1 pitch is a check swing strike. We'll push the count to 1-2 on Cullen. Now there's a couple of teams in Kentucky that have gotten some new turf.
The Owensboro schools. Davis County has new turf. Apollo has new turf. Interested to see what happens with those Owensboro teams this year. See if Apollo can put it together with those D1 talents that they have. Owensboro's always going to be good.
Swing and a miss will take care of Cullen. 2 gone now here in the second. That'll bring up the shortstop, J.J. Gould.
Doesn't get much better than Rash Stadium.
And where's that one at?
That's Owensboro.
Okay.
Owensboro Catholic have Drew Hart's one of the better quarterbacks in the area this year. Be interested to see what Davis County can do. They're going to kind of have to reload. They lost a lot of their offensive stars, so to speak, for the last couple of years. The Snake Pit of Mount Carmel is one of my favorite high school football venues.
Now, I asked Ron this earlier, and he, said, hey, no problem. I love it. That means people are watching. Whenever you go out to get a sandwich or go out to the grocery or something of that nature, how long is it before somebody's coming up and wanting to talk to you about high school football?
Everybody wants to talk high school football. Everybody wants to talk about high school football. And that's one of the things that I think makes Evansville so great.
0-1 pitch catches the corner, and quickly Gould down in the count 0-2. By the way, that was the 6th strikeout just a moment ago by Jake Repovich. So as a staff, the Crushers have now fanned 12 Otters.
And that's a little on the odd side. You see a team strike out that many times in a night, and you still have 8 runs on the board.
Both sides have had
players swinging for the fences.
Yes,
tonight.
sir. Again, Jake Welch left with 12 strikeouts on his own, and then Drew Byer came in, and Byers struck out a pair, so Evansville struck out 14. So a cool 26 batters on the evening have been turned away via the punch-out. Again, we're approaching the final frame here in Evansville's Bosse Field. The Otters, they got their runs early, 1 in the first, 1 in the second. They plated 5 in the third, and then a solo home run 1 inning ago was their final run of the evening to date. This could very well be the last batter for the offense for the Otters if things go according to plan in the ninth, as taking the 1-2 pitch for a called strike 3 is Gould. That's strikeout number 7 for Repovich. And Randall, here we go. We're heading to the ninth as the Otters trying to put the finishing touches on a 8-0 series starting tilt here at Bosse. It looks like we may in fact be getting a new pitcher as well.
Crushers need 8 to tie, 9 to win.
Well,
crazier things have happened.
Well, trying to prevent the madness will be left-hander Cam Opp. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Cam, this is his Otters debut, was added to the roster today. So we don't have a whole lot of information about him. He's a 5'10", 185-pound lefty out of Enterprise, Alabama. And his last team listed was the USMA at West Point. So a nice experience for him, I'm sure.
Well, it'll be a nice opportunity for him to come in and in a situation where there's not a lot of pressure on him. I mean, you're coming in a game that your team is up 8-0. Obviously not a high-pressure situation. And give him a chance to come in and get a few innings under his belt and be ready to go.
Let's take a look at who the Crushers will send to the plate in the ninth. It'll be 9-1-2. Wofford, Davison, and Hill. And then should anybody reach, Burdick. And we heard John talk about it earlier. This is a league that, again, you've got an age limit. This is kind of a springboard league where kids are getting their first chance. So you've got, again, here's a guy in Cam Opp. Talk about a pretty, I'm sure his nerves are going a mile a minute, but you're coming into a ball game, 8-0.
Not a lot of pressure.
No pressure, kid, go get him. And what a great opportunity for him to come in and
I'm sure that's what Andy McCauley told him. No pressure, go get him. go out there and throw strikes.
Just like you've done 1,000 times. As we'll take a look and see if we've got any finals from around the rest of the Frontier League. Again, the last we checked, most of the games were getting to the later stages. They're in the 8th now. Florence still holding that 4-2 lead over Gateway.
Florence is putting together a heck of a season.
Yes, they are. They're
starting to distance themselves from the rest of the pack. I believe going into tonight it was a 6-game lead.
The beauty of that, though, is once the playoff starts, everybody's back to square nothing. So if you can, again, just get in. Joliet, meanwhile, is down to Southern Illinois 8-0. The Rascals have broken that tie. They're up in the 9th on Windy City 4-3. Meanwhile, on the top of the 9th, it's Schaumburg 8, Washington 7. First pitch strike, nice start.
And make no mistake, we're in mid-July, so a 6-game deficit easily overcome at this point in time.
Absolutely.
Just keep winning series, and that's what the Otters have been doing.
And hearing Andy talking before the start of the contest, he rattled off several opportunities this team's going to have to run down the Rascals, the Freedom. Plenty of time still with those head-to-head matchups.
I don't know if you could hear Zane Clodfelter in the background or not. Just over 4,000 here tonight. Good crowd, biggest of the season. Officially, biggest crowd of the season.
Well, we taking a look to our left and right could certainly see that the folks of Evansville had turned out in grand fashion tonight.
And thrilled to be just a small part of it tonight. Thanks for watching if you're still hanging with us.
Again, Cam Opp is the new pitcher for the Otters. 2-1 pitch will be line foul. Wofford now will square the count at 2-2. Close the book, by the way, on Drew Byer. He goes an inning and a third. No runs for him allowed. He did give up the one infield single, no walks, and he struck out 2.
Eyewitness News Habitat for Humanity night out here at Bossy Field in conjunction with the house the Otters built. We have those stories every week on Eyewitness News, the team pitching in and helping to build a house. Brandon Bartlett's been doing those features for us.
Those are on Thursdays, correct?
On Thursday nights.
And certainly,
I believe they're all on our website. If you've missed any of them, you want to see it, you can check them out on tristatehomepage.com.
And if you go to the Habitat website, it gives you some information on some of the families that have been directly affected by this. And did you catch the number of how many houses have been built in this area?
I did not.
It was top of my head, I can't quote it, but it was a pretty sizable number as the first pitch is grounded to short. Gold circles, throws across his body, and that was the leadoff man, James Davison. So you know he's a speedy cat going down the line, 6-3 on the putout. And Randall Weir now 1 out away from putting this one to bed.
Otters 1 away from a shutout. 3 pitchers combined for it tonight.
Standing in the way of that shutout is Aaron Hill, the reigning player of the week for the Frontier League. Hill on the season, a .265 batter with 7 homers, 21 driven home. Tonight, however, he is lined to third, struck out, reached on an error, and been hit by a pitch, so he's been aboard twice, but has yet to pick up a knock.
I think if you're Andy McCauley looking at the box score after the game, there's not really a lot that you're not happy with tonight. Maybe the strikeouts, a little high on the strikeouts, but if you've got 8 runs on the board from your offense,
you'll take it. Again, especially against this pitching staff. I mean, they're not doing this against the bottom of the barrel in the league. 0-1 pitch is a bit low. We'll square the count at a ball and a strike. Well, what's going to stand out to me tonight is, again, the crowd first and foremost. We had a great start to the ball game with the national anthem, and then the Otters bats just came out booming with a quick 1 in the first, 1 in the second, and then again, the big 5-run third.
What stands out to me is Carlos Castro's home run. Maybe we need to check with Zane, get the distance on that home run. What was the distance on Castro's home run?
Tail of the tape.
Down there.
And have they found the ball yet?
495, according to unofficially.
With some backspin.
Unofficially from Zane Clodfelter.
2-1 pitch will stay up and in, running it to 3-1.
It was a blast, however.
Bases are clear here at Bossy. Otters again in command, 8-0. Need one more out to in this ball game, but that out's going to have to wait a bit more as a 2-out bases empty walk will put Hill aboard for the third time tonight. And Dale Burdick will be the potential last hurdle here for this Otters ball club tonight. Burdick was a replacement for Emmanuel Marrero, who was ejected in the 5th. So Burdick is 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Runner will take second on indifference, except for he'll now have to throw a quick U-turn and head back to first as the first pitch is lifted foul and out of play.
Hey, and if the Otters are going to give you the base, might as well take it.
Evansville comes into tonight's contest at 14-7, so assuming they can hold on for this 8-0 win, that'll push them to 15-7 on the year here at Bosse. Meanwhile, they are 14-15 on the road. We did talk earlier, though, this is a nice little homestand for them. They've got 3 against Lake Erie and then another 3 against Joliet, as the 0-1 pitch will be taken low, making it a ball and a strike.
A lot of managers' recipe for success is play 500 baseball on the road, win at home.
Well, the Otters will get their chance on the road a week from tonight. They're in Florence for a big 3-game set with the Freedom.
And that may go, it's early in the season, but that may go a long way to determining who wins the division. I mean, the Otters go in there and they go in 6 games back. If they were to get swept, that's 9 games back.
Yep.
They went around, they go and sweep Florence, or 3 games back.
Every game you play is 1 game in the standings, so even taking 2 out of 3, you've really only made up 1 game in the standings. So, but I'm sure Andy McCauley will have his troops ready to go for that big series.
A lot of baseball left to be played between now and the end of the season, and now on Labor Day.
2-1 pitches low, and, well, this is certainly, you understand the nerves. As, again, Cam Ott making his debut, but in an 8-0 ball game, you know his teammates and everybody on that Otters bench right now is saying, all right, just throw some strikes, make him put it in play.
He looked really good those first 2 batters. I think now he's just literally doing that.
3-1's grounded to third, and the throw across will end this one. A 5-3 put out. Nice play by Ryan Long to finish this one up. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left. We started at 6:35. We end at 9:37, so 3 hours and 2 minutes. And again, we had over 4,000 people in attendance tonight as the Evansville Otters victorious in this one by a score of 8-0.
And again, a big thanks to the folks at the Otters and Habitat for Humanity for letting us team up tonight and for the Otters to allow us to broadcast the game live on our website, TriStateHomepage.com. They supplied the feed for us tonight. Mark and myself just in here with the audio and the play-by-play, and had a lot of fun doing it.
Happy to be along for the ride. I got to ask you, Randall, all right, not to put you on the spot, but for our unofficial player of the game, you've got Jake Welch in his 6 2/3 innings of scoreless baseball. You've got your catcher, Mike Rizzatello, who picked up a couple of hits early, 2 for 4 on the night with 3 RBIs, or then Rob Calabris, 2 for 4 on the night with 2 RBIs.
I'm going Welch. He shut the door tonight. He kept the Crushers. He kept them off the scoreboard.
Hard to argue with that. So Jake Welch in his 6 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 walks, and 12 strikeouts.
Our Eyewitness News
unofficial
player of the game.
Collect your trophy at a time to be determined later. Well, again, we had a great time out here. I want to thank Habitat for Humanity for all the great work that they've done. Obviously, a great partnership as well here with the Evansville Otters, celebrating their 25th anniversary. And, Randall, looking forward to seeing the highlights on the news tonight during sports. And, again, Home Team Friday is just around the corner.
Right around the corner, August 23rd. Again, if you want to see all the highlights, Jessica will have them at about right now or at 10:20 over on WEHT. I guess that's it for tonight.
There you go. For Randall Parmalee, this is Mark Macer saying thank you again for joining us at Evansville's Bosse Field, where the Otters were victorious by an 8-0 score. Have a good night.